All right. I think we are good finally here to get going on a Thursday afternoon. As I was going through there, it has turned into quite a positive afternoon across the board. 1+% officially for the overall S&P 500. The entire market back to the upside in a huge way. We're actually being led by healthcare, financial, and industrial stocks right now. Within the tech group, there is a little bit of negativity. We'll get into this a little bit further here coming up. But semiconductors are under pressure. 2.25% downside. ON Semiconductor, 1.5% to the downside. Technology, hardware, equipment names as well. ANET under pressure, 3.5%. Domino's, 6.5%, having a nice day. Some of the travel names, though, within the consumer discretionary group, to the downside, offsetting an otherwise positive move for the overall sector. Energy stocks and utility names also to the upside. As I was saying, when nobody was watching, we are welcome, everyone. First off, hope your Thursday afternoon is going well. Two ways to look at this, really. The Fed comes out yesterday and says there's still at least 2 more hikes to come before the end of the year. Powell said most Fed officials went into the meeting saying some hikes still needed before the end of the year, indicating more than one. It's clear, guys, the market itself is focused on the fact that the end is near, apparently, for this hiking cycle.
They say don't fight the Fed, but you know what? Today, like the Fed is, I almost said Buster Douglas. I guess that's not really you don't want to say Buster Douglas.
Buster Rhymes.
Look, the Fed is probably, like, Powell's got to be saying, like, what is going on here? What can I do? The market is screaming. This kava is going to be up 100% again. Like, oh my goodness. The one time I think that, I can't remember the last time there was a high profile IPO, or it's not that high profile, but there was one that people were interested in and we weren't taking the long. This is the first time in quite some time, and of course the good one, you're going to see, I've only been short this thing. Short 45, tight stop, short consolidation. Even when it's working, I'm like, I'm holding it through 40, stop out. It's working again, I'm holding it through 40, stop out. It starts working again, don't even take anything out, stop out again. So I've been only short it. I guess if it goes 45, 46, 47, I'm not much of a believer. 22% IPO price, high end of the range. 44, probably 45. It's up 100%. Seems a little crazy, but that's the way today has been going. My hope for this afternoon is at least the 2 things that have worked were shorting things I didn't believe anybody wanted to hold. So I don't believe anybody really is confident that GoEV is going to go forever or that Nikola, but everything else is just jamming to the upside. If you want to see impressive, take a look at NVIDIA above 431, just continuing to go higher. It feels like it wants to make a run at that aftermarket high that it put in yesterday. I think it was like mid 430s there, seemingly unstoppable. The NASDAQ's 1% and wants more at this point. If you can't beat them, join them. Even AMD's starting to catch up too.
I just shorted Intel right now. We're long Apple, as you guys can see. I mean, we got run over a little bit on Tesla there, and then Google didn't give it up to us. Are we going to talk? Well, I don't know what the rundown if Tesla's even on there, but we were short. Now it's coming in, of course. But you know, we were short up here. It was okay, but eventually ran over at 257. I know Shreve had the long there. We were short, but anyway, some good shorts. Now it's starting to come in. Here comes Tesla back down to the downside. But yeah, here's Apple. Now it's starting to fade out a little bit here. Maybe the fade will be in for the rest of the afternoon, but for right now, yeah. I actually didn't have that kava. I didn't trust it, and I could see why it ripped up, down, and around. And but yeah, it sucks. I don't know last time, you know. Well, I mean, an IPO actually was pretty good today. Obviously, Neil just talked about it. Let me just show it to you just quickly here. If you're just joining us again right now, you know, there's the IPO open 40. You said 42, right? And then it went back, and then it went down to 40.50 right away. So that scares the living what out of you. And then it rips up to the upside. Then some consolidation again down at 40. Like, that's the only trade really. You either had that IPO open right there, which would have scared you because that candle was about $1.50, $2, as Neil just mentioned it. So, or you either wait for that and go long down there. I wasn't even looking at it. I wasn't even here at that time. Or you wait for that breakout that just happened. So yeah. yeah, Kava, we'll let it settle down a little bit here and just continue to watch it for the rest of the day. But if there is a dramatic move one way or the other, we'll be over on Kava. But yeah, pretty wild. Let's get some more IPOs. I mean, that was great trading, a lot of opportunity when that happens. Just this one priced at 22 or whatever it was, opening at 42. Let's get something that's a little bit maybe lower priced. We can hit some more shares and see some more stability.
We were discussing, if you were with us in the pre-market this morning, there was a number of opportunities. We were discussing the fact that chips, first of all, had been so incredibly strong. We don't have to be on that, guys. So incredibly strong over the past couple of weeks and months. More analyst moves to the upside. This week, in fact, for both AMD and NVIDIA, no real significant individual news coming off of events for both over the past little while. But if there was going to be, and it's actually surprising if you look at the chart, you know, if there was going to be leadership, maybe that was a good place to look, but not the case.
Yeah, no, we haven't. You didn't see much in the way of chips today. You saw NVIDIA flirting with that 430 level the entire time, acting as a bit of a top. With respect to news, yeah, we saw Lisa Su earlier coming out with their new AI chip and a possible hyperscaling with Amazon, Brendo. That's kind of what I've been really wanting to see from these chip manufacturers, big sales.
Meanwhile, the overall market, obviously at day highs. Here's AMD, guys, 2.25 still downside. Really not much of a bounce for these today.
Just I have it here at the quarter, giving it to the even. 25 cents worth of risk. If the market continues to do what it's doing right now, it's like, well, eventually even this, which is the weakest name out there today. I think so. Anyways, I don't know if there's anything in big tech world that was weaker, but if the market continues to go higher and we can push, then this can definitely break highs, get to 125. 25 cents worth of risk, like I said, I probably want to hold it through 125 even. It has been a dog, I would say. I was in Intel earlier, which was looking pretty strong. There was a big break off 36, mostly a scalp trade at 36.20. Then I got away from it, had one short. Now it looks relatively weak. Basically flat on the day for Intel. If it gets above VWAP, maybe that'll be pretty good as well. NVIDIA is the one that definitely got away. I was short into a long that I stopped even. I had a long break at 430 that didn't really go anywhere. Glad I got away from it. Now you're holding above 430. I think the way to play NVIDIA should just be when it starts trending, which it's been trending for a while. I mean, the daily chart's showing you the story. So now that you've broken back out at 410, just try to join trends. And the way to join the trend is usually to look for it to bounce off a bottom, play a consolidation long, play a consolidation long. Stop always looking for the breakout at the high or the reversal at the high. Just go for the consolidation longs. They're a little bit easier to work with. I do think, you know, the weak Intel but beneath VWAP makes some sense to me, but I want to see if AMD can follow this market up. If we continue to push higher, at some point I got to think that's going to play a little bit of catch up because AMD has been lagging pretty badly, holding above VWAP, but down 2% on a day where the market's up 1%. It's hard to imagine we can go from 1 to 1.5% on the NASDAQ without this at least making some kind of a move.
Yeah, agreed. So me and you have opposite positions right now, but different prices. Yeah. Okay, so AMD is my number one stock on the day. It's on the sticky note. It was the number one short, in my opinion, to play here today. So we hit it early, right there, right off that break to the downside, and that was a great trade, shorting 125.50, and the best cover there, 123.20. So that's like $2.30 or 40 cents, and it came back up, and we shorted it again. So that's basically the level that we're trying to work off of right now. 125 to the high side if it really gets going. That'll be where we wind up getting out, but I feel like we want to work some shorts into this position in case it does come back in, and there it is right now, starting to come back a little bit. It's now 15 cents in the money. We'll see where it wants to go from here. But yeah, that's AMD right now. I like it for the short. Okay, now it's really coming in. So let me just put a bid out here at 37. Move my coffee that's done. Get it out of my way so I can see my screen. There it is. We'll take one cover right there for 16 cents, and then we'll see where we go to the downside as we just keep getting out. We got out some more Apple right here as it's going back upside. But yeah, the biggest one here, and I've been sort of getting some follows and everything on Twitter because of this I call this a Ponzi scheme. Some people are agreeing with me. I don't. What I meant by it is just the action that this seems to have to the upside, and everybody talking all about NVIDIA, all about this AI, all about the chips, all about how much money they're going to make, and everything like that. It just reminds me of all the people that were already buying houses in the Hamptons when they were just buying their first like half a Bitcoin because everyone thought it was going to $1 million. This is a legit product, legit everything. So I'm not trying to say that NVIDIA is not going to change the world, because I think AI is, but for right now, this has just been such a huge move to the upside, and it seems like it's just getting, to me, a little frothy, but who am I to say that? NVIDIA up again today. So, every day it seems to be paying traders dividends, just going up, 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 buy, close, sell at close the next day. But maybe at some point we start to fade out a little bit here. And if it's going to start, I think it's going to start with NVIDIA. So we'll see what's going on right there right now. As by the way, AMD is trying to get into a tank mode a little bit. This is not a tank, but it just stopped at 20 right there. We don't have any bids. Well, now we do. So we'll bang that one out a little bit and take a little bit of profit there on some of our AMD and our Intel. Oh yeah, we're talking about chips. I just shorted Intel right now. Neil mentioned it below VWAP, so that's why we didn't really cover it. I would like a bigger position there. So we'll take a couple hundred shares and see if it can come back in to 35.50 or something like that, and we'll just make a little bit of money on that. But really, we're trying to do some damage here on, once again, Sean, stay in your lane, man. I mean, it's like my #1 stock today. Should have been hit it a little bit harder there on that move. I think Brad was talking maybe about a short here on AMD. So nice to see that come through. Intel now falling down a little bit as well.
We were just talking about Jack Dorsey coming up apparently on CNBC. Let's talk about SoFi here. I mean, this is such an impressive move for the overall market. Just in general, like every single pullback just gets bought. There's just endless buyers. 3% still for SoFi here downside, but I mean, we're getting closer and closer by the minute here, back to essentially where we ended the day yesterday. What an impressive run it has been for SoFi. There was actually both ways. There was this note to the downside this morning, performed to outperform, but there was a couple of analysts with positive notes on SoFi this morning as well. But daily chart tells the story here.
Yeah, up over 117%. I think it's year to date. It could be month to date. Ever since the news about the student loan forgiveness program coming down to a winding down, Dominic Gabriel, the analyst at Oppenheimer, basically saying that this downgrade was purely on valuation after what he suspected to be was a significant short squeeze to the high side.
Yeah, and we're working on it anyways. Still back to the upside we go here, guys, today for SoFi.
Still down, but I had one trade on SoFi, and I was looking for a breakdown off of this. If you look at it right here, it was kind of gapping to the downside. You had like 920. It was flushing underneath. I looked short underneath for it to fill this gap, break the bottom, and then flush, right? So that's the kind of trade. It either works or it doesn't work. It's pretty binary. I was out one time, no reload, no jumping back into it. It never really got to what I think would have been, like if it went to 975, like where we closed yesterday, I probably put the same trade on. Well, not the same trade, but I put another short on up there. I never really believed in the long in this one. Just felt like at some point the stock was going to go down. And if this was the start of it today, I wanted to be all over it from the open, and it just never decided to want to flush. I mean, it could have come back and tried to short it up here or something like that, but yeah, it just absolutely trended to the upside, but then the market trended to the upside. And speaking of, so my stop at 124, had AMD. It tried to bounce one time, so I grabbed a little bit in front of 124, did not bounce at all. So the initial long that I carried into it ended up being fine, but then no reload here. I'm going to hang on to the two that I have. We'll get to the squeeze stocks a little bit later. I don't know if I see a trade in SoFi unless it pops another 30 cents, because I don't want to chase this long on SoFi. It's been up so many days that I just feel like if you're buying it up here into tomorrow after Fed, it just seems a little bit tricky up here if you're looking for a buy. I'm just looking to be selling this thing as long as it's underneath this 10 to 10.20 level, unless it gets back to 8. Like if it gets back to $8, maybe there's a buy down there.
Yeah, same thing there. We had sort of similar targets. I'm out of 60% of AMD right now, as we just got out of 30% of that right here at 124. So we actually got some below 124 fills. So although, wow, now it's bouncing right back up there. So that's strange. And then we got out also of Apple as well, as we only have 10% of that left. We'll see some nice upside moves. But yeah, SoFi. So SoFi was on the sticky note today. We talked all about it. What did we say exactly on here? 950 short sell. Ooh, we're right back right now. So here was SoFi early, boom, boom, boom. Was able to get a short when it ripped up there. I was like, okay, we'll take that. And I was like, let me use this pre-market high to get out. I didn't even really realize that we're all the way back here because I've just been trading, like I said, I'm in Apple, AMD, and Intel right now. But yeah, short off that 950 seems to make a little bit of sense to me as well. We just bounced off there right now. So if you're thinking short side, yeah, maybe SoFi right now off that. But why did I like 950? I guess it was just going back into this, but that's really 960. So I think you got to give it a little bit of room if you do take the short there on SoFi. But yeah, this is a possible reload for the short, but SoFi not doing too bad. Definitely recovering from the bottom there. So nice move there on SoFi. And again, congratulations to everybody on the chat, because I remember before people were like, hey, what about SoFi? I'm reloading it at $9 and things like that. So everybody that did that, you only had one scary moment, and that was in the first 5 minutes where it did break below 9. But since then, these were the best covers. Again, a good cover, and then we give it up there when it comes back up. So that's a 5-cent hit or so on SoFi right there. But hopefully it comes back down or back, I don't know, whatever way you are. But I think SoFi right now, we'll leave it alone for the day. Tomorrow we'll look at this again around that 950, 960 marker. The market just pulled back. You know, we're schlongs. We've got long and shorts right now. And then, okay, I might take one more out. All right, here comes AMD. Let's put a bet at 03. I should just put it at 05. Hopefully we'll get another fill there. And then we'll wait to see if it drips down a little bit more. Intel covering as well in the 50s. So those are back-to-back jacks right there. I think we just got AMD. Yes, we did. So hopefully that can now fall back in. Let's watch out for Intel for the downside.
It's impressive that the overall market is doing this with tech, AMD.
Muted?
That was me. NVIDIA, AMD, Tesla, all still negative on the session. So let's get Tesla back to positive, shall we? We were discussing a few things in the pre-market. Yesterday, we snapped that 13-day winning streak that added a mere $200 billion to Tesla's market cap. This came out as well. XPeng rolling out their own version of self-driving in Beijing, getting approval officially from Beijing officials. I mean, a minor story overall, but a little more competition possibly in the Chinese market for Tesla.
Yeah, and that got you and I talking about full self-drive and how expensive it is. It's $20,000 in this country. Hold on. That could be a bargain. Let me pitch it to you. Now, what if Elon is right, and then you're actually renting out your car midday while you're at work to go and do Uber rides for you? All of a sudden, full self-drive is not $20,000 anymore. It's a SaaS. It's a software as a service, and you're paying every month. And the people who grandfathered it in 20,000 look like they're geniuses.
I mean, no doubt we're heading in that direction anyways at some point for Tesla. But impressive nonetheless, as I was mentioning, the overall market move without the participation of some of these that have helped along the way the past couple of weeks.
I'm just, Tesla.
Oh, man. Stopping on Kava here.
Okay, you're on Kava. Okay. I was just, so Tesla, like, no schlongs here, just short today. So, like, I mean, unfortunately, it's just, I don't know, man. I might have got the schlong because, like, we were just trying to go short here the whole time, and now it finally is fading out. Unfortunately, we only gave it to 257 in this area. It looks like we should have given it to this range right here, 258. But at certain points, you're just kind of like throwing darts at this name. It's not really moving. Just too many darts being thrown right now. If we just stayed in the short, would have been fine. This was the one here where I thought we were right into that level, which was 258. So we initially had a 258 short, and then like that would have just been $4, but. Again, I just, getting squeezed out every time on Tesla. So we held it here for a pretty good ride, short 257, down there to 255 and change. So making a little bit back, but ultimately just got taken out there at 257. So too many cuts at the end of the day. Now it's starting to bounce back, but too many cuts there on Tesla. So for me right now, everything's fine, but I don't. If anything, it's a long, but then look at that. You just get a wick down there. Now it's just up $1 off that. So look for the high volume areas where you can find some support and resistance on Tesla, it seems like. And looks like right now, the market, again, another 0.93. We had these things as bears today, and they still are. And, you know, probably they don't need to be. Well, they are, but they should probably be changed.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous.
So anyways, that's Tesla.
Yeah, let me just...
Apple right back up.
like, how is it still on the bird of the ball? I had one trade in Tesla, but the only thing that I think made sense for me today is at least I didn't... The only trade I had in Tesla was a breakout at 258. So I sat this out because I didn't really see it. I was looking initially for short opportunities if it had gotten to like 60s or something like that, but it was nowhere near in that pocket, so I went the other direction, and there goes Kava again. I'll get to that in a second. So 258 break is all I have for Tesla. At least, like, there was other things moving. If you remember, yesterday was sitting in Nikola literally all day long, and then today it decided to squeeze, because that's how it works sometimes. Like, the day when it goes, like, the dollar long gives you like 115, it's like, okay, that's not bad. It's a 10% day. You should not be upset with that. But the day that you don't sit in the long in the pre-market off of it, that's the day it goes parabolic. So I missed this all the way up on Nikola, and it just decided not to chase it. I had the short off of 60 initially and stopped that out, and then off 75. And again, it's just, this is what I'm kind of looking at the same thing in Kava, right? Like you're in the short, you want to go, doesn't go, just stop yourself out, because eventually I was completely convinced that Nikola was going to fall apart. It just, to me, it had no business doing what it did. It's a pure squeeze play. It got up to 180. That was a big level, 187 on the daily if you pull it back far enough. I'm sitting in the last little bit just looking for a 120 retrace, which would be a little bit of poetry there. And then the other one that was going was GoEV was going as well. I didn't see this one. I probably would have tried it a couple of times here off the 70 level, but when it made that last little push and couldn't go, I rounded into short. It's only giving VWAP at this point. So these are the two I'm in. If it presses high of the day, I probably don't want to reload GoEV because it's holding VWAP. But those at least have made some sense. And if I see things like that again, like penny stocks, maybe just went a little bit too far in a day like today, I think that's lower hanging fruit. If you got the itch to short and the market pulls back, I think those things will go. I'm very likely to take a couple of shots at Kava. Up 100% the day after the Fed told us they could raise a couple of times for a company not making money yet is a little bit rich for me. Congratulations if you bought this one. This is the first time I think I've ever traded an IPO at Day Trade the World without taking a single long.
Right.
I have literally never done this before. So I've only ever been short stock. And the worst part about it is, even when I've been in the money, I've refused to cover because I keep thinking it's going to break 40 and head back down into the 30s. It hasn't happened yet, but it still could. We're still on the rundown. Let's go back to the desk.
Yep.
Let's talk about Uber here, another one that's been pretty impressive over the past couple of weeks. Back to the upside we go today in a big way. Heavy volume came in at 43. If you go to the daily chart, you'll see why. Nice pop up to 43.5 on a pullback now, but 4.6% for Uber. Wasn't much in the way of news. There was a couple of minor stories they were pulling out of Italy on the food side of things, Israel on the food side of things as well. Just no market share, no participation, I guess, for Uber in those markets. So cost cutting, hello. Yeah. Obviously, that's positive number one. And then some analyst moves this morning as well.
Yeah, that's been championed by the market this year. I'm talking about cost cutting. But Uber's made the tactical decision, unless they're number one or number two in that particular market, they want no part of it. And I guess that didn't meet the standard in Israel and Italy, so they're kaputs.
Wall Street Journal reporting as well, they're going to begin full-length, quote-unquote, full-length video ads on all of their platforms. So the app on your phone, when you're in an Uber, if there's a screen, there'll be full-length ads as well. So possibly some more advertising revenue even coming through.
Yeah, I think it actually makes a lot of sense for them, quite frankly. This morning, at least, when Uber was really strong, we've been pointing out that 42 level. And we mentioned it in our morning rundown. Hey, Uber, if it were to break out 42, and at the time, the market felt like it could have been rolling over, so didn't really think it was going to come in right away, like Uber was trading down in the 41 range. As a matter of fact, the actual trade plan for Uber was to buy the dip at 40. Buy the dip into 40 was the morning trade plan. You can see that never happened. Instead, it ended up breaking out at 42 because you can see how clearly I believed in the longs today. I scalped it to 43 and didn't hang on. It failed 43 for a very little bit and broke higher. Now, all of a sudden, the 43 level is support. So what was temporary resistance is turned into support. The stock is super strong. I don't know what else to say. Rory Alderton in the chat is yelling about Meta. So it's a live show, live trading show. Yep, Meta's breaking the high. That's the kind of market that we're in right now. Market wants these tops over and over again, which it has been doing for quite a while. So yeah, you got to find a way to join some of these trends. If we can hold 43 on Uber, I think that could give you a bit of a base to jump into the long, just to go back on topic there. It's just so many things breaking highs that it'll be easy to get distracted with, oh my goodness, this is breaking the high, that's breaking the high. Uber needs to hold 43 and start playing catch up again, but it is one of the stronger stocks. If the market wants to take out the top, I can see it continuing to go.
Yeah, so in that spirit, yeah, things taking out the highs. Let's see if Tesla wants to do it. I know we just talked about Tesla quickly. I don't have any Uber trades on, but we're now short Tesla. We, took the short there, and we made 50 cents real quick, and then now we just got lifted out, not lifted out, but put in, but our order got lifted at 31. So now we're hitting this down to the downside now. Hopefully Tesla will give it up a little bit, but if it takes out this 200 period, then we're gone, man. I mean, this is just a 1 minute chart. Was just trying to play this momentum. A little bit of a pop-up in the futures. Let's see if Tesla can hold the ask right now at 256.50 right there right now. So that's something that obviously I'm going to be looking at here moving forward. That's that trade, but we took a little bit out there, and here it goes. So this is right where we're short right now at 20. So we'll see if that one wants to work. Obviously, there's another high move right here in Apple, taking out the day's high. We're still long that one. That's 50 cents in the money. We just took AMD out, by the way. We have a small piece left on that one. That's AMD. And then what just happened? We just got filled on something there. No, we did not. It's Intel making that move back up. So we got to watch out for that. We're shorting Intel again near the VWAP, and then if it breaks VWAP, then we're going to get out of that as well. So for right now, the biggest concern that I have is this name. It's Tesla, and we're trying to take higher bids here. There goes Apple, by the way. Sorry. I'm just into too much. We just got out of Apple right there ahead of 186. So that's going to be a banging trade for me. The only position we had long all day was on Apple was just right now, breaking through VWAP, play the market strength, and there we go. Did I just see some? That's not that much size, but there we go. Out of Apple to conclude that trade. That's a banger right there.
What a move for the overall market. What a move for some of these tech names, Apple included. They're back to day highs. The rundown, guys, brought to you by Trade Ideas, real-time scanning and alerting used by everyone you see on the show, and see what's moving in the market, in the moment, live, with everyone here with Trade Ideas. Trader TV 20 gets you 20% off. Shout out to them, as always. A couple of quick things on Microsoft. Speaking of strong stocks today, JP Morgan, Mizuho over here, both raising their price targets this morning, but I mean, it was one of those ones that kind of took a back seat for a couple of weeks, it seemed. After the initial AI craziness kind of died down, we shifted focus to NVIDIA primarily. Now Microsoft may be getting a bid again. Yeah,
good day for Microsoft. Meta and Microsoft exchanged positions to who was leading the big tech names. But yeah, 2.81, 347.20 high. We were talking about 350 being a possibility on this one. Should be noted that this, if we close at this level, it will be all-time high close for Microsoft today.
Yeah, I was just checking. The 349.67 is the traded, I guess, all-time high.
Pre-market high.
So, yeah, I mean closes. Yeah. Closes. Microsoft, impressive, guys.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a distinction that people care about, like when did you get to that top, and there was a pre-market level where you got higher.
But is that what that was? Because that seems to be way too fishy to me.
I have my Trader charted up. So on the weekly, I have it says 345 is the highest gotten in the open. There's a wick above it. So maybe you have a little bit more granular up there.
No, I mean it could have been
signal, but it could be. Doesn't really. It probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. No, the only reason I say that is because that day the high was 350, and the low it closed down to 340. It closed down $10.
Yeah.
So it might have been. I don't know the volume that was up there, but anyways, yes, Microsoft is
It's a beast. It's now in that.
It's a monster.
It's in the 45 to 50 channel now anyway. So that puts us within spitting distance of 350 tonight, or this evening, or this afternoon. I did have it a couple of times. It's like every time it was a good price level, I did not reverse it, but there was no consolidation to be able to have it. I had it off the top as well, but just a couple of paper cuts. At least we didn't fight this one too much. And if we see 350 today, I suppose that would be a level to stand out in front of. I don't know if I like the dip. unless it's like 45s. I like the dip on Meta if it comes down to the next even dollar, but maybe not Microsoft.
There goes
As we
Tesla.
go. Brendan, something else, Brendan?
Quickly, guys, there's a Deutsche Bank automotive conference going on right now. The CFO of Rivian just saying that their Enduro ramp up, so the Enduro is the next platform that they're going to work on. So their Enduro ramp up is ahead of schedule. So nice move here for Rivian, back to the upside on heavy volume.
When Moon.
I got stopped out of Tesla there. What is
Rivian? So Rivian at 1580 has been a brick wall since April. It's been, I mean, and obviously it's been a good short a couple of times. I can tell you at that level, if it breaks out today, quite frankly, everything's breaking today. So would it shock me if we get, I wouldn't call it a squeeze because like Nicola's a squeeze because that's a big short interest. Rivian, 14%, okay, so it's kind of squeezing if it breaks this 1580 level or 16. You can't beat them, join them. I don't know that I want to chase it here. You're kind of floating in the middle. Resistance is at 1580 on the daily, so it probably has to pull back to previous high or take out that 1580. But I don't know if I want to be sitting there trying to fight every single one. A little easier to be thinking about short Nikola when it goes too far and short GoEV when it goes too far. Rivian, there's some danger there, right? If we pop out from here, if Carvana can make a breakout like this and end up testing $27 or whatever the heck it's at right now, can Rivian make a break and get to the high teens? You'd like to think so. So let's look for a breakout, that 1580 level, maybe even a dip buy off 15.
Yeah, I'm long now, Rivian. I just punched that long at 54, 55. And I'm just looking right here on the 20-minute chart. You know, we've been bouncing off this 1540 a couple times, so that's just going to be my out. So pretty easy, I think, for 15 cents right now. I mean, if it's going to break out, like Neil just mentioned, there's been a lot of sort of, that's 1530, that top. You could give it to there. I'm going to wait. There's the top that I'm talking about, 1540. So I'm just going to play off that. Here's what it looks like on eSignal as well. So this 1540 top, let's just play that. That's been the dip. Here we go. Now we're longer as it's come. Now it's coming right back in. So watch out here. And again, it's a conference, right? So what they say 1 minute, they could say something else the very next. So that's why we're going to, okay, here we go. So I hate talking about something and immediately it blows up in your face, but that's going to be Rivian right now. We're long at 50. So if we have to lose a dime plus slippage, probably maybe let's say 13 cents or something like that, then that's what we'll have to wind up doing. But here we go, right back up to the upside. Well, not right back up to the upside, but bouncing around. I have my target right now, so let's try to make the same amount of money here. Get something out at 57, 58 on the upside if it wants to go back up, and let's just see if Rivian wants to go here. So what is the short interest on this name? Hold
15.
on a second. Oh, you already looked?
Yeah.
Okay, so 15% on Rivian, so I'm not even going to look. So that's not a huge short interest, but maybe it's enough for those that are short to be scared out a little bit.
Today it's enough.
We'll see. Today
it's enough.
Probably,
this is the kind of day
probably
where
a good point.
It's enough. Like, think about it for a second. Like, Nikola doesn't even have that kind of a, well, actually, no, it's 17%. Nikola and Rivian have basically the same short percentage. Anywhere you break out from, I'm always going to want to play a dip buy if you're going to go for that kind of trend, so why not? I mean, you just want to join the trend here. So I think we're done the rundown.
Yeah, I think that was the last one.
Yeah, pretty sure we're done the rundown. Meta, which we know is super strong, it's above 282. I said the next even dollar down, I liked it. I didn't necessarily mean 82s because at the time it was just beneath. I like it back to 81. Previous high. We're just going to go channel hunting on this. Every single dip buy, we'll go for it. Uber didn't come in enough. I didn't get filled there, but Kava.
You're breaking days
Kava
high.
apparently is the next Chipotle. I don't know. So Kava made a fresh high. It's now above, okay, it was above 47. It just keeps going and going and going. It's the Energizer Bunny of stocks. Maybe it just wants 50 today. Maybe it just wants 50 today. Like, it's weird. I was telling you guys it's the first time I have not been long an IPO, and I didn't even try a long at any point. I didn't believe in it. And $40 as it was holding, I can tell you, most of the people I was talking to on the floor were looking for a 40 breakdown short at that time. It's like, yeah, if it breaks 40, it's going to 35. Like, that was more or less the attitude on that name. MVIS, Steve G, I know they rescinded their share offering. It's still up on the day, but that got sold off pretty heavily. Probably needs to break out from here, get above VWAP before it gets a little bit exciting on MVIS. Yeah, Kava is insane. Stano saying 60, not 50. Okay.
60 what?
$60. That's okay. Another
Kava?
Another 20%. It's at 47 right now. They're saying I said it's probably heading to 650. Maybe it goes to 60. I have no idea. There's so many strong names out there. I want to see if I can get back into some Uber. That's still holding VWAP. I can't see Uber holding VWAP forever if we continue to make highs. But that's starting to bounce. I didn't quite get picked up there at 43.
All right, we were able to get that. I mean, we told you we offered some 54s there to get a little bit out because it just that's been like the recent high right there. We just kept stopping at 56. Sorry, so we got some 54s right there out on Rivian. So yeah, it's nothing. I mean, we're long at 49. I don't know. Let's just see if it wants to go for now. All right, Intel's getting pretty spicy to the upside right now. We already have our targets for Rivian. I'm just going to try to let that one breathe a little bit right there right now. So we'll wait on that. But yeah, this is the big one now. It's Apple. All eyes on me, says Tupac. Apple up right now to 180. Like there's 186. So hello. I'm short. I'm short at 90 again. Worth the dime. Worth the dime, in my opinion. We'll go short right now. Our average price is 91. Sorry, and we're just gonna play it through 186. Like I'm.
Did it break earlier?
No.
No.
So the thing is like. We've done this many times before, and it's just about sitting there and watching it. And, you know, there was that one time, what was it, 180 it was. It wasn't too long ago where it was sort of barcoding at 180 for a while, and then eventually it broke, and you didn't really get that dip down until it broke. Like it broke, it went maybe... If I could find the chart, I'll do that in a minute. But right now I'm in this trade. But it broke. I think it went up like 15 or 20 cents, and then it went to the downside, and then it recovered, and it boomed itself right back upside. So this is going to be an interesting stock here as we wait to see what Apple wants to do. It's too bad because we took an early trade right there, just a piece of it, which at 83s. And then we just got right now 95s. So that's giving us that average price of 91. Let's see if it wants to work out for us. Rivian looks like it does not want to work out for us and looks like it's going to break below right now that 1540 mark that I had marked down as my out. So yeah, Rivian may not work after all. We did get a piece out right there, but that was the high. So hopefully it can bounce off. Now I think it's worth taking it against that 1540. This was like a 10-cent shot here, so we're going to be a shot caller and see if we can make that one. And it doesn't look like we're turning out to be a baller because that is going the wrong way for us right now. So, okay, that's good, man. All good heading into this. We're just going to have to watch out for Apple. That's the biggest position I have on right now. Intel, we already know where our out is. Apple, we're going to wait for that one to fill through.
Yeah, I'm going to start getting a little more aggressive getting out of GoEV. This is... I can tell a flag when I see one. It either rolls over from here, breaks VWAP, and plunges, in which case I've got some bids out there. But this is very different from what Nikola did. Like, it looked like it was plunging. This should have got it into the low 60s. Instead, it holds a higher low. It's a pretty strong trend. The other issue here is your day one, and this is the 50 period at like 65 cents, right? So your day one mover, essentially, I mean, it's a couple of days up in a row. The first parabolic move is today, and all of a sudden, it finds a bid. Where did it find the bid? It's 65. That's the 50 period. So I need to be taking more shares out. I don't need to be holding it to the high of the day. I can recognize that if volume comes back into this, it's likely going higher. If it doesn't, it might still not be able to flush through 65 even. Because if you have one of these, like if you take a shot play on this, little long 55, long 50s, or even consolidation long 65s, anywhere around here, if you're bottom picking, when it starts going here, you're not panicking out of it. If you're long on any kind of a swing or any kind of a day trade, you're not really convinced that it's not giving you the run to $1. And I'll juxtapose this by looking at Nikola here. And if you look at how far this ended up going, like when it started going, it broke to 50. Like nothing until maybe today has scared anybody out of it. So if that's the case in GoEV, I need to be trimming on this one to be sure. Apple...
So
I also feel like you got to pick one direction. I was short off the 185 level and didn't go into the long. So this time I'm going to go in. I'm going to take the long this time because I should have gone with the 185 long. I went short. It went to 71 time. I reloaded. It stopped out. And realistically, I should have just reversed into the long. It's not a huge level. It's only 200,000 shares on the offer at 186 on Apple. But if it breaks, I'll try the long. Probably a relatively tight stop as all high of the day breaks.
Yeah, it's going to go, man. It looks like it's going to go. I think just for as far as the risk to reward is concerned, I think this is worth it just to go against it. But yeah, we're probably going to get stopped out. Remember, we made money on the long there. It's just right now, I just think as a trader, this to me, but I mean, the market just keeps going. So it's not, you know, we could sit here and talk about how good this trade looks, but if the market just keeps doing this trade just looks good if we retrace. But we're not near any levels right now. We're way up. Man, here's the 30-minute for the NASDAQ, and it's just like absolutely just like booming. You can go back, this is June, like all the way back here into the back end of June here, May, like you're way up. There's no recent levels that we can sort of pick on and say, hey, the NASDAQ is about to turn right now. So it's kind of just up in the air. We started the day down 0.7 on the NASDAQ. So you're really, you're up 2% since this market opened. Like that is beyond everything that I thought today was gonna happen. So, yeah, I'm a little shell-shocked myself here today, if you haven't noticed. All right, our out on Intel's already talked about that. Rivian did go all the way back up there, and not all the way back, but since we talked about it, it went back up to 51, 52, putting us back into the money slightly. Now we're flat on this trade for Rivian. Let's see if it wants to go. I don't think this stock's going to be market-specific, as we talked about.
Well, that didn't break.
It did break? Okay, so there's Apple. I'm not out of Apple yet. It must have.
That's like a triggered
dark pool
ran
there?
stops. No, it definitely ran the stops because it went to 2s, and I have a 1 long, so it very, very
there we go. Now it's gonna go.
took
Yep,
this
there it
level.
goes. I just got out at 03 there.
I'm also by the way,
that's too bad.
even Nikola just got back to VWAP. I'm tightening my stop on that stock. It's like ridiculous. Everything just wants to go higher. I did get some Go EV out just now, but. You know, Apple broke. I got 1s long. It's not really doing anything. I just do an offer in front of the quarters. So if it makes that first push into the quarters, I'll take some out. The longer it holds here without a big push, I might take 10s or 15s, but I have a very tight stop on this. The market is up 1.3% now. And what's hilarious about it is, okay, take the Apple break, but I was unwilling to do anything but dip buy on Meta.
Oh, nothing's
Meta
going.
It's at 83 now on Meta. Like, Meta is insane. It just keeps going and going and going. I'm waiting here at 82 for a consolidation play. Where's the consolidation? Just take the breakout, Neil. Don't sit here. Just take that break. It's like 30 cents higher, and I could have had the breakout on Meta. Unfortunately, I'm now waiting now $1 underneath for a pullback. That's just how it is. Yeah, there's sellers all the way on Apple. Whatever. By now, if after the first minute or so, I don't see anything, I'm usually going to take that first 10 cents. Let's see if it gets that quarter. Again, if it goes back into break even, I'll take it out. And I'll just show you what happened on Nikola. So it did this. Let me adjust my stop here. So it did this, pumped up to VWAP. If it reclaims that local high, I'll just get out. I'm holding like 3% of the position. The trade was when it flushed off 180. I just thought it was going to go further, and I tried to hold on to a piece. Like right when it was at the low, I'm like, oh, if it breaks down, I'm going to get 120. No point getting out. I could have trailed this out more, but you should always treat it as if it's bigger, but if we hold above VWAP, there's no point being in this because it might squeeze again. This is still holding $1 as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, yeah, we got stopped out of that Apple trade, but again, 10 cent or no, I was short 91. Yeah, so we got 02s actually. Well, we got 03s. Broke 02s, we got 03s. But I think the long, I mean, is probably going to be right. It's just a matter of, like Neil said, waiting for some, a big buyer to sort of push this through 186. Right now, it's just kind of hovering here. So that's going to be something to watch out. But again, brand new all-time highs happening right here on Apple. So. Hey, man, the long-term account is singing these days right now. I mean, Microsoft's been a big position of mine for a very, very long time, and we've just recently got out of a lot of things. Like, we got out of Google a couple times. We never able to buy anything back in, so the long-term just keeps going, man. The core position just keeps on rocking as Microsoft right now is going to make it an all-time new closing high. So that's coming into play right now at 348, it looks like. I don't know, man. Every time I stand in front of something, it just railroads me. Why didn't Rivian, see?
Oh, I just got filled in.
Rivian should have came out already, so we're going to have to adjust to see what's going on right there. There goes Rivian, just pouring back there, 35s, pouring back down to the downside. So it's an L on Rivian right there. I guess that news was a nothing burger. But, again, finally, just stay. This is the one thing that the only way I'm going to get better is if I actually follow what what I do best, right? And that is that stay with names that we have decent reads on. AMD is the #1 stock today for me by far. And then there's the reload that we just put on right here. You know, so we are reloaded on AMD right there. So just came right back into that level that we like, and there it is again. We just mow it down again. So what we give up in Apple, you know, just comes back here in AMD, but that sucks because, like, you know, you could just have one winner and not have a loser and a winner, and or. But that's what that is. So we'll have to wait on it. Let's wait to see Tesla. So it stopped us out right here. It goes up to 257. I mean, I don't know how I picked that as the high, but right now, Tesla, again, the shorts worked until it didn't. That's a winning opportunity that we had there, so that was fine. We probably should have got back into it. Let's maybe wait till Tesla flushes a little bit underneath some of these levels. 256 break, I like that much better against 256.50. So a 256 break, I think we'll take that on Tesla to the downside and then just use this area right here as our out if we do come back down for Tesla. So 50 cents worth of risk on a 256 break, slow downside there on Tesla. So let's watch out to see if that wants to come into play here.
So I'm going to work off of, and Rivian talked about the previous high was 1530-ish, like 1528.5 or 28. It just bounced off 30. So I got in on the way down, and then I added on the way back up on the bounce. I'll give it to the local bottom. That would now be 30, and see if we can get back to the high of the day. If it takes out the high, 1580 is still a big, big resistance level on the daily. I think it's worthy of a punch. Apple just tries, I don't know, it's gone 10 cents here. Whoa, I'm missing half of yesterday. Yeah, it's gone 10 cents, and that's pretty much it. It has dipped down once into 186, but not a lot of follow through there for Apple. Meta, I think, it has been the stronger name. I suppose either I get 182s and it comes back into 182, or we can look out for a break of the local high. I mean, that's what's been working. NVIDIA, I have chuckled because NVIDIA
is it still ripping?
So 432 it looks like is the actual high, maybe like a penny or two above, but I have like there's some dark pool wicks earlier that had it higher than that, but 432 just got challenged. It is up on the day, but remember, it's a weird thing to say that, okay, NVIDIA is flat on the session, because you have to remember how hard it rallied into the close yesterday. Like, it was insane into the close. So the fact that you gapped down, I don't think was all that crazy, given how absurd it was in the last like half an hour of the day. So back up to those highs is pretty darn impressive for NVIDIA. Despite the fact it's only up 0.4%, I feel like that's a little bit deceiving in terms of the strength this has had. So 432 trying to break. I like Apple, got Rivian. Maybe we'll get some Meta here. What else do we have? Why United Brothers? Why isn't AMD so slow today? Well, some of what Lisa Su said in that fantastic blue blazer she was wearing, talking about the market cap of, not the market cap, but it was like $30 billion right now is the market for AI chips, and it's like 150 is the overall addressable market in 2 years. Well, NVIDIA has 80% of that. So you need to be convinced that AMD had something or released something that was going to get them a big chunk of that. And I don't know, I'm not the expert, but it seems to me the market doesn't quite believe it just yet. So relatively speaking, NVIDIA is still getting chased higher, and AMD still playing some catch-up. It feels crazy to me that there's anything this game-changing, like really, in a game-changing market like this, NVIDIA is just going to own it.
Yeah.
That's not how the world usually ends up working. You can have oligopolies and things like this, but you don't generally have a monopoly in something like this in tech. I can't feel like that's the way it's going to go, but right now everyone's just buying that it's going to be NVIDIA. So maybe that's my guess. I can't tell you whether it's right or not. I'm sure there's smarter people out there that maybe cover the semiconductor industry that want to tell you that. Come on, Rivian, bounce at least a little bit. Like a little bit. That'd be nice, 1550. I'll take it.
Everything is, you're long. Yeah, good.
Yeah, but it's not really.
I just keep going short here on all these pops, and it's like nothing's happening again. Rivian just back to flat again. Okay, here we go. We just talked about where we thought this name was going to go, and it's AMD, and there's the big shot right now. Right up to 125. So this is what I mean. It's like put your hands in your head, or your head in your hands right now, because it's like a.
We were just talking about how it was the weaker name.
I know. Well, it is the weaker name, but it just woke up per se right there. So we got to give this to 125. That's what I was just doing right there. Was zooming back out just to show you guys 125 was the greatest short early Boom, that was 125.20. That was a good short, and that came all the way in our first cover there in the 70s. So we first covered for 50 cents, and then it just kept on bleeding down from this level. But hey, man, level be damned anymore. That's when the market was actually down 0.7. Now the market is wow. I mean, we are really, really extending up right now, and yeah, these shorts are getting blown out. So. Well, it's going to be red day for me today, it looks like, as everything just keeps on going to the upside right now. Like, just to have reversed that Apple long, like, that's good. But
that's what, the only reason I did it is because I didn't do it at 85.
Right.
Like, I didn't do it at 85, and that was one of the dumbest things, like, today. It's like, I had my big fat line drawn at 185 and thought it was important enough to leave that in for a week.
Right.
But when it breaks out, do I even think about going long? No, I just shorted. When it came back, I went long in front of it and got dumped out, then didn't take the long as it broke back through. Like, if you have a big level, just use it to your advantage. Matt Carnes made a point. Could it be the pause that's causing NVIDIA to go up, so pause and rate hiking? I would believe that, if not for the fact that they basically indicated they still think they can raise twice, they being the Fed, raise twice before the end of the year. So what was the word they used? It was like a skip, or it's not a skip?
Yeah, skip. I think it's skip, yeah. I think that
it's hard to believe that if they're just going to raise at some future point. So Apple did get to those 20s, kind of wick topped up there. It's very slowly grinding higher, but then what isn't, man? Like, there's one red candle on the 3-minute. Meta, I can probably go ahead and, I don't know, maybe I don't want 282s if it comes back in there, but you're holding 283 up 3.5%. Market just wants to hold green, man. This is one of these types of days. Everything but Rivian wants to go. That can be a little bit frustrating. And Uber, which we talked about, yeah, let's see, again, it's like you cannot be patient. I'm thinking it's relatively weak in the afternoon. It's holding 43. We're just going to be able to slide in there in front of VWAP. But then look at it steadily climb. 3 minutes, it's all green since I was sitting on the bid and just trying to get right to the high of the day. So at least we managed to get Apple. Everything else is gliding higher. Well, GoEV might roll over, but there's a reason I'm short. Like, so the only two shorts that have actually paid me today are GoEV and Nikola, and they have a little something in common. And I feel like that should be the theme. Like, what do you not want to hold as the market is screaming day after, the day after Fed indicated they might hike a couple more times and are being defied? Maybe it should be something that people don't believe in as much. But yeah, we'll see what happens. All I have is Apple right here to the long side as we go to Brendo.
Goldman Sachs downside here, guys. Pretty heavy volume as well. There was an SEC subpoena that came through regarding SVB's final days. So big flush there for GS.
Oh man. Yeah, so I fought the law, and as per usual,
long arm.
The law won. Because the law is the long arm of AMD right now. These chips are the law right now. And if you're trying to fight them, then you are going to lose on the short side. So again, positive on AMD today. We're still positive on it, but that last little shot there was, this is how I get myself in so much trouble. It's unbelievable, because like, I just don't believe these moves, and it's stubborn. It's being stubborn a little bit, just trying to get up to that 125. But again, this one we are pretty patient for. At least we're not like shorting levels that we hadn't made money off of before, and that weren't good to go. So there's that 125. We didn't get out of everything, but we did get out on that break. So there's 125. All right, so a name that is working on the short side, and again, we just waited for it. We're only short at 79. But at least Intel's back in now. So there's Intel, a little bit into the downside as AMD's trying to retrace here. Hopefully it can get back into the 90s, but I'm pretty sad face here because everything we've been doing has sort of just been going short. It just, like, I look at the NASDAQ on a 5-minute chart here, and it's just like, that's sometimes what the best thing you should do is. Like, this has been no pullback at all. So sometimes sitting on your hands, like, I get a little carried away thinking that, okay, we're gonna give you guys some trades, where's the risk and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this is just broken. It's broken, not that the market's broken, but it's broken to the upside now. We had that level that we talked about earlier, 15,300, that bounced off there solidly, took out the high from yesterday. And since that happened, it's just like, Powell, really? You know, like, what is he thinking right now? Like, nothing he can do will slow this market down. And, you know, that's why I thought that yesterday, you know, I thought by signaling a pause there that maybe there was more trouble underneath the hood. Yeah, the skip, the pause, the skip, and the skip to my Lou. Then, you know, we thought that maybe there would be some problems here. But no, the NASDAQ says, okay, you're going to pause or skip? Fine. We're just going to keep skipping forward here to the upside. So congratulations to anyone that believed in this market to the upside. Great for the long-term accounts, but getting railroaded, not believing anything here in the short term. So, okay. I mean, that's the market. This is why we trade every day and wonder what we're thinking afterwards, right? So, nice move to the downside. We could celebrate wins, but I'm here to tell you that we've been getting flushed out. The last 3 or 4 trades, we went short on AMD, we went short on Tesla. That didn't work. The only thing that seems to be working, we went. Apple's fine because we were long, but you know, just boom, right there to the upside through 186. Just continue. I know Neil's got it, which is great, but through 186, been fantastic. Like, just hold that short and don't get out, I guess, right? But again, you have little faith, I am, about this rip.
I have a theory that I'm gonna, if GoEV is above 65 cents tomorrow and I don't try the long, then I suck. Because
Okay.
I'm looking at what's happening here. Like, there's someone who's just stepping up on the bid, just holding VWAP,
goes
holding
AMD, by
VWAP,
the
and
way.
like I was saying about that 50 period, like this is the 50. Like if it's above here, why not just have a breakout a second day? Like it could go 70 break on the daily, which is the level I essentially shorted off of, and then hold 65, and then why not moon or 82 to $1? So in light of that, I'm continuously taking more out at VWAP because it broke VWAP, held again at 66 and came right back up, testing 67. It's just not flushing. Like a stock like this, usually once it gives it up, it just gives it up and continues to go down. So I still actually, you know, I'm only saying that because I still have, I'm now 10%, just under 10% of the position. But when we came on air, I was still holding 30% of the position, thinking it was going to flush. And now I'm down to about just under 10%. Just keep taking it off of VWAP. Apple continues to go. So congratulations, you got it a little bit late to the party. We always talk, the purpose of this channel is to entertain, educate, and inform, right? So market's going up, you're informed. Entertain, hopefully you like seeing me get run over in Kava shorts. And then it's all about, no, but also about education. Like the mistake that got made today was not trusting the price area that I like. I do not care usually about defining a direction. Just show me the price level that I want to take action on. And when you reverse off this, then try to break down, support this same area that it wouldn't break when you were short, retake the high. This is a long to the local bottom. Or at least a long to 85. You can go tight stop and long at the 85 if you want. That would have worked too. Or you go long to the local bottom and then, you know, bingo, bango, bongo. Instead, I'm taking a top end break because that's kind of lower hanging fruit and kind of that really easy, you know, like coin flip kind of trade that if it works, you just hold on to it. If it doesn't, you're out right away. But there's better trades to be had. You know, we're about finding those the next time to be sure. So big move. The other thing that we haven't mentioned, shout out to everybody in the chat, Fireball mentioning it. Monday's a holiday.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe, and again, fighting some of the shorts this morning obviously sucked, but when you think about it, going into the long weekend on a triple witching day tomorrow, it might actually have been a better idea to look for the short on a Friday, that people don't want to hold the tops into the long weekend, as opposed to thinking about it today. That's a little bit of hindsight, but yeah, it's a long weekend and the market's going to be closed for 3 days. These, I could see people ring the register tomorrow. These are ridiculous levels, all-time highs on Apple. So great for Apple. I don't know what the heck Rivian's doing, but I guess they really don't care about that news because there's no continuation.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was going to say, if I went back to Rivian and it was up, I would
No, it's holding.
buy keyboard again.
It's holding 1530. So kind of my chart, like it's holding this consolidation, but at some point when the market continues to make highs, if this is really a thing, why is it not retesting the top? And
my
the
God,
other thing to
AMD.
keep in mind is how top heavy, like this is where it's at on the daily chart. The long is probably better above 1580 and breaking out. Like when this breaks 16, you just slap a stop underneath the previous high, which is like 75 to 80. And then just let it go and see what happens on Rivian. This is long in front of a resistance level because I thought the news could get it there.
Man, AMD just fell back below 125, and this is why I keep going back into the short. It's like, look, short, short, stop, 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 like lose money, and then comes right back down in, and it's just like, I can't hold forever, which is the problem. We have to be flat at the end of every day, so once it starts to break key levels, I just like, okay, I'm out, but like when I get out there at 15, it only goes to 27s there. Like, I don't know, what, like, you know. You could just keep on looking for levels, and it's like, if it stops up here at 50, you're like, oh, well, there's the wick to 50, you know. So whatever, but there it is, pulling back down. If anybody held that, congratulations. We didn't, so we're flushed out right now on AMD.
Oh my God!
I told you this is like, I was just gonna like lose my mind here at some point if I haven't already. There's a buy button. Yeah, you're right, John. There is a buy button, but I've disabled it for now, as you can see. Oh my God, nice move to the downside. Congratulations. It's a good thing we still have Intel, but we're only short right here right now. Like 90 should have. You know, there it is right to the downside. Good thing we didn't take 36 there, or else I would have been real pissed. But there it is. Now it's a nice move to the downside at least. Let's see if Intel fades now. Okay, like that's it. If the futures go down, we have Intel now. There goes, oh man, AMD, like that is a shame. That's a real shame.
Now we're pulling back.
93, yeah, but I mean, still, like.
My anger right now
is this even a pullback? Like.
Kava it wicked the high of the day, and then was just like this is a classic wick high short. Like this is the stock I've been short like all day long. Kava will be my worst stock today, and it's like if I had just did the normal plan for an IPO, and this would have been. I mean, pretty much everybody on the floor would have made their day on the stock. If you follow the usual, just go long, play off support, and keep going long until it breaks the support level. Well, it never broke 40, so really you probably never stop trying longs. Maybe you don't chase it above 45, I have no idea, but it wicked the high, came underneath, showed you the rejection, and then you could have shorted it almost all the way to VWAP, plainly enough. So I know Pratt was saying, like, can something that's breaking out give you the wick high short that pulls all the way back to VWAP? Your answer is yes, and it was Kava to be short. But Apple just got back. I'm still holding a piece of it. We did get some when it got to 186.50. We took some, 10 quarters, 50s. If it ends up bouncing off 186 again, like a consolidation long, probably go for another one. But that's the biggest pullback since underneath 186. And it had to give you a consolidation before it broke. We still have almost an hour to go, so there's plenty of time for it to, barcode maybe go again. But it has to hold this 186 again. I'm not going to hold it past 186. Not holding it to 185.75 or anything. If it breaks back under, I want to essentially break even, limit the amount of losses. Of course, as all that happens, this thing, I'm telling you, man, GoEV does not want to go down. It's just holding this line. The entire time. And at some point, I think there's going to be a long, it might not be today, it just might be tomorrow. That Kava, though, this is the one that's going to frustrate me the most because I didn't try a long. And then when the best short came in, I was looking for a little something crazier, which would have been it going to $50. Right? Like I said, 50, it got to 48, so obviously I didn't take it.
So frustrated right now. I know people are saying put the shorts back on and everything, but of course the only short I have is Intel. It's not even moving down. Like,
what about?
Biting my tongue right now on all this stuff because this is the market, man. Like, look at AMD now. Like, it's just we were short 3-4 times. Like, boom. Yeah. You want to talk about how much money? That's too bad because we were hella short. All of that. Out of that. So we actually just took a short in a new position right now in Google, but this because Google's right here at 125.
This feels like a real turn.
Of course it feels like a real turn. I mean, AMD is down huge. So is Apple off that number. Oh my God, not a number, but off those levels there to the downside. Like as if Intel, honestly, dude.
Where's Microsoft?
Intel goes down like 4 pennies. Okay, AMD is still going to the downside right now. All right, we'll look to get some more here. Google, of course, bouncing off. Like I put a bid at 76 on Intel, it just rips right back up, right there to 79 again. So yeah, who knows what Intel wants to do. But okay, so let's just talk about Google quickly here because Apple's coming back upside a little bit. That might be the one to stay away from Apple just because of it is going to be at all-time highs right now and an all-time high close. So that's kind of the risk behind that one. And that's the thing, like, oh yeah, just put your shorts back on, right? And then this happens to you. Like, you know, put your shorts back on Apple. Like, where are you going to do that? Down here at 80, it just comes back up to 186. Like, I still feel like you need it to get back into here near these highs and just test it again. Because you put the shorts on here, then the market just goes back up, and then it's just like ultimate losers back to the upside there for that. I just need Intel to fall down, and if that happens, then I can still not sleep well at night, but hopefully sleep a little bit better than we had been. Google 120, what is that high right there? 125.31. That's where we're going to play that off of. Average it back in here at this level, 125.10 or so in the middle, using it against that high. But here we go. So finally, a little bit of pay dirt here happening for us. And of course, like I said, the stock that we have isn't doing shoot all, and that's Intel, as AMD is bleeding down. So that's going to be the right one for now, guys. You know, trust in AMD to the sell side, but that's frustrating. That's frustrating a little bit there.
Yeah, so you'll see I got out of Apple. I didn't want to give it to the local high, gave it to break even when you're chasing kind of the top end of the move there. It was a successful trade overall. Probably could have been more aggressive on the backside of holding on to like a third of it, and you know, could have definitely taken some out there at that 30 range. Thought maybe the move could continue. Realistically, like this, if you look at this pullback, that's what we'll call it. We'll call it a bit of a pullback. It's the first red candle on the 60, if it even happens. On my 15, there we go. Maybe I'll look at the 15 on the NASDAQ. That's just there's a better chart for you. So there have been a couple of dips, and each time there's been a dip, it's gone back and at least retested previous support. So if you go to yesterday's high, it kind of held above there, broke out again, held the previous high. If you follow that pattern, you really have like 30 or 4 handles before it's a really confident dip buy on the NASDAQ anyways. And if you're looking at individual names, I think you kind of want to look at the same thing. Like Apple here, yeah, it didn't hold 185, so maybe it holds 186. Like Meta, if you want to continue the trend, okay, the last breakout didn't really do anything, so you're still looking at 282. Got to come back down into there before I take a shot at it. I don't think I want to mess around with NVIDIA. Like NVIDIA is actually pulling back, and the way that this is played is the pullbacks have been, you know, $3 to $5 earlier, and then maybe it gives you a bit of a bid. So 29, maybe under there, that could be more reasonable. I just don't want to rush into looking for a dip buy in NVIDIA. That's a violent one, and it's diddling right in the middle. Rivian's a bit frustrating. I guess if this is going to be the range on Rivian, we'll just have to start getting out of it. Like I happen to have mid-30s, but it's put in a 30 bottom with a 45 high. Nothing I can do about it. That's the range it's putting in here, so we got to be able to respect it, at least for now. Tesla, I haven't traded Tesla much. I took one bloody trade on Tesla today, and then VWAP's been good. So let's let it test back down into 250, 55. This has been pulling back, and every time it's giving you VWAP. So I see no reason to get away from that. Not going to rush back into anything on the dips. Typically speaking, in a market that's trending to the upside, there should be solid entry points without having to force the issue. I'm resisting the temptation to jump into shorts because, quite frankly, it hasn't really worked for me today unless I'm talking about a squeeze name. So I'm not going to fight any of those, at least not until we get to some really significant levels. Oh, Sava.
Oh wow, we didn't go over earnings board there today, but we have Adobe after the market. So
yes.
Wow, I'm in that name. I didn't even realize that was reporting. Okay, so that's at least give me something to look forward to.
There was only 2 things this week, and they were both the older. It was like Oracle and Adobe.
Right. Okay, so that's good. We'll have a look there at Adobe.
Double top on the daily.
Yeah, maybe I should get out.
Pretty much right now. Yep. Right.
That's another.
How's about nowish?
Yeah. Okay, so we'll see. That'll probably be disastrous. We'll wait to see what happens with Adobe. Okay, so remember when we were on Intel, and it was down here at 76, and I put a bid there, and it didn't fill. Yeah, that was a nice story. Now it's all the way back up to 95 again. So it's like I don't know, man. Just keeps on going to the upside. Like AMD falling down, Intel stays strong, and we've talked about it. Not that they're the same company, not even close. You know, if we're going to short AMD, it's because that's been such a huge runner. But it doesn't look like Intel wants to respect any of the shorts today for sure. It's still up 1%. I know the market's up more than that, but Intel just right now into this 36. It's not really a huge level, but there it is right there, 36 from the drop off. So, you know, we'll see. Last time it made the move momentum to the downside at 12 o'clock, and that just brought it all the way down. I mean, but we're not going to get that right now, but hopefully we can get a push back in on Intel. And then just right now, Google. See what I'm saying? Like, I can't pick a winner. So Google right now, back up to the upside, looking like it wants to break the high again. So we'll have to watch out for this one as, yeah, all the shorts for me getting squashed right now. But like Neil said, probably best either don't fight it or go in a little bit light and just sort of say, hey, if you get the tank, sure, make some money back that you've already lost. But you're not going to, you know, I'm not going to get back to green today. We're just going to try to see what can happen unless Intel absolutely tanks. But okay, Brendo, what's up?
All right, guys, I am excited for our guest this afternoon. We'll talk a little bit of crypto for everyone today. She's one of the most knowledgeable industry commentators around, a crypto educator. She's the host of the Coin Stories podcast. She's a frequent Fox Business contributor as well. Natalie Brunell is on the show. We're so happy to have you, Natalie. Thanks for doing this.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
It's such a busy time, so much to dig into here as far as crypto is concerned. I want to touch on a few different angles here specifically. Even this morning, I mean, BlackRock coming out, filing for the possibility of a Bitcoin ETF. We'll get to that. Let's talk about Binance and Coinbase. Obviously, the biggest stories over the past couple of weeks here, the SEC lawsuits coming through. We get some layoffs when it comes to Binance announced earlier today. Give us your thoughts here. How does this play out in the end for both?
Yeah, you know, I think we're going to have to wait and see, and that process might actually take years as, you know, these lawsuits have a tendency of dragging out. But, you know, what's interesting is, first of all, we are getting a little bit of clarity. I know that's something that we really want in the space, and that is Bitcoin is not in any of these lawsuits, and it's really not under the microscope when it comes to the regulatory pressures that some of the companies are facing. So investors, whether they be retail or institutions, they should feel a little bit safer with the idea that Bitcoin is not going to face some of these regulatory hurdles that the other tokens will. The lawsuits aren't that surprising. You know, the 1-2 punch of them coming both at the same time, maybe that was a little bit surprising, but some of the claims made inside of them, especially the Binance lawsuit, really egregious. It seems to be some nefarious activities that were going on. And I think that, you know, a lot of people are just wondering, what is a crypto security? And if there are a lot of crypto securities, which I would venture to say there are tens of thousands of them that are posing as, you know, commodities when really they should be registered like companies are. I think that those will have to shake out, and a lot of them will end up not existing in the space anymore. I think that the regulators are really trying to make that clear, that if you are operating a company that's issuing a token and it falls, you know, it passes the Howey test, then you need to register. You need to come into compliance so that investors really understand what they're buying into. There's a lot of opaqueness in this space, and hopefully with these lawsuits, people do sort of start to understand that, you know, Bitcoin is one thing, it's different, and a lot of the other items that exist in the space, the instruments that exist, are actually securities that have not taken the proper, you know, due diligence in order to register and in order to disclose everything that they should disclose to investors.
Focus and approach this from an investor standpoint as well here. When it comes to Binance specifically, they seem to be the one that, you know, was at least willing to play by the rules and even approach the SEC a few occasions to say, hey, what do we do here? Can we get some clarity? But now they're being almost made an example of, and you mentioned a few reasons why. Where do investors turn when it comes to an exchange at this point, in your opinion?
Well, you know, I obviously, I've chosen to focus on Bitcoin because it is the only token and blockchain that exists that fulfills the properties that make good money. When it comes to investing, I think that there's so much risk out there, and you really have to take the time to understand the companies and the the boards and the products that are being created and the supposed innovations. And the space is really new, and it feels a little bit like the wild, wild west, not unlike the internet of the early 90s. And so I think that investors really do need to take the time to study what they're investing in. I've taken that time with Bitcoin, and I realized that, again, it does fulfill the properties that make perfect, sound, hard money in a digital way. And so I choose to put my money there as opposed to trade it or what I consider gamble with the other tokens and currencies out there that are going to face, regulatory pressures and potentially lawsuits that could, cause them to no longer exist in a couple of years. So I think that, one of the things that investors are looking at is something that they don't have to worry about, that they can purchase and know that 5-10 years from now, it's going to be an investment that they can rely on that will maintain the purchasing power of their money. And that's how I see Bitcoin. It's something that I don't trade. It's not something that I sell. I'm not trying to time the market. I'm trying to spend time in the market so that in the future, I can protect everything that I work so hard for and make sure that I can still, have that purchasing power years from now, which you really can't have with the dollar. And when you're investing in cryptocurrencies, a lot of it feels like you're going to a casino.
It's a great point. I'm glad you made it in the sense that, the days, I think, of maybe in and out and in and out and in and out are behind us when it comes to Bitcoin specifically. And a lot of people should maybe be approaching it from a longer term perspective at this point. I want to give you a shout out in your podcast, specifically a shout out. You've had excellent conversations on your podcast, from Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy right through to regulators themselves. When it comes to how this plays out, and I'm speaking of regulations in the US specifically, how do you see this ending from the SEC, from regulators across the board?
Well, right now, I think it's a bit of a standstill, right? Because you sort of alluded to it before. The companies are saying, we've been trying to get clarity. We've been trying to work with the SEC. And the SEC has been saying, well, we have a framework in place. It's the Howey test. And if you pass the Howey test, you have to register. You have to come into compliance and let investors know everything they need to know about the company and how it's operated. And so we're sort of in this place where I think this is going to drag out for several years, because the companies say they shouldn't fall under, let's say, this 1930s securities law, because they're saying the technology is different. The law was made when this technology didn't exist. The protocols, do they really fall under these different prongs of the Howey test? Meanwhile, the regulators are saying, the rules are pretty clear. The rules of the road are there, and you either follow them or you don't. What's really sad is so many people have, invested money that they've lost. I think that the hand of the regulators was certainly strengthened after FTX and the fallout, and there are nefarious activities that are going on in this space. If you read the Binance lawsuit, it's pretty egregious that some of the executives were basically saying, we are operating an effing unregistered securities platform, right? And saying things that maybe they shouldn't be saying if they are trying to work with regulators. For me, Bitcoin has been a safe haven asset, because I see it as something that, once again, regulators, policymakers have already recognized is a digital commodity. It's truly decentralized. I don't have to worry about some of these things and venturing to guess which company or which token is going to exist 5-10 years from now. And as I mentioned earlier, I think some of them won't. I think 5-10 years from now, we're going to have very few, maybe a basket where specifically these are cryptocurrencies that are securities. They've come into compliance. They've hired the lawyers and filed the right paperwork. And these are digital commodities that are more decentralized, Bitcoin being the king of that. So I think the space will look very different. I think that regulators are trying to get as much under their control as possible. They certainly don't want privately issued stable coins. They don't want things that are out of their grasp. And we'll see how that plays out. Because obviously in question at the heart of this too is what's going to happen with the US dollar. Policymakers probably feel a little bit like the US dollar might be under threat, especially by stable coins or things that want to take its place. I don't see Bitcoin as taking the place of the dollar anytime soon. I really do see it as that savior to inflation, so that you can plan for your future and save. So many people are dealing with not only inflation of the CPI kind, which has come down, but look at asset inflation over the last decade. Look how much homes have gone up. Look how much the cost of living, the cost of education has gone up. And people feel frustrated and left behind. They're not their wages are not keeping up in real terms. And Bitcoin has been the best performing asset of the last 10 years. So I think, a couple years from now, we're going to see Bitcoin in the six figures. I think it's going to strengthen. The adoption is going to grow globally. And I think we'll find out, which cryptocurrencies are securities, and hopefully we'll see some register come into compliance, and people will feel a little bit more comfortable investing in the space in general.
A lot of points there when it comes to essentially why confidence in this area has been crushed over the past, months, and even going back a couple of years, if we want to talk about, the FTX debacle and everything else that has brought down the price of Bitcoin this year. You mentioned a few there, but give us the positive side here. If someone's sitting on the sideline right now saying, you know what, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to have something involved in this industry. I guess two-part. A, where do you put it, to work? And B, when, in your case?
Yeah, obviously your show, a lot of it's about trading. And so there is that skill set. And I think that people, who are great traders can make a great living. But for the average person, I think dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin is just the safest and most stable and consistent pathway to saving for your future. Again, because of the points I made earlier. Right now, we are in a debt doom loop, and it's playing out in slow motion because we are the world's global reserve currency, but we have $200 trillion in unfunded liabilities. We will never be able to pay that back. We really need to restructure that debt. Politicians won't admit this. They just keep kicking the can down the road, and ultimately the Fed will have to print more money. That money is going to go somewhere. It's been, going to assets over the last several decades, which is why we've seen stocks go up in the way that they have, why we've seen real estate go up in a way that, young people, millennials, Gen Z can't afford a home that their parents could. And so you have to protect yourself from that, from inflation, from the inflation of the money supply. And so Bitcoin has, once again, it's outperformed every other asset. And it is the truly decentralized blockchain that is absolutely scarce and finite. You can't expand the supply past 21 million. So for me, I am putting my money where my mouth is, and I've put my money in Bitcoin, and I continue to dollar cost average just so I can get that nice cost basis, which is a lot cheaper now than it was when it was at the all-time high.
I know you are super busy and pressed for time. We appreciate you coming on this afternoon, guys. Check her out on Twitter, @NatBrunell on Twitter. Coin Stories on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Natalie Brunell, a pleasure. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, thank you so much, Natalie, for coming on there. And what's interesting about it is that just now, as she was saying that about the U.S. debt, we don't usually talk that higher level again into politics, but the U.S. isn't that far away from spending more money to service their debt in terms of interest payments than they spend on national defense. And nobody spends more on national defense in the United States. That's something that could actually happen in the next decade.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, of course people want to have some kind of a protection against the worst of what could come there, runaway inflation, which I guess we already have a little bit of that. So yeah, it's fantastic points being made there.
I like the debt doom cycle.
I haven't heard that yet.
I like that. We are in a debt doom cycle. Well, I mean, it'd be nice if this debt could doom us here on Intel to the downside, but that's not. It's always great to have more crypto talk because I know there's a lot of investors and traders, as Natalie said, that are involved with crypto. So to me, that's it's great to have both sides, right? Like you and I will trade crypto ETFs or Coinbase or something like that, which is at the high of the day. Unbelievable for that. So thank you, Natalie, to come on for that. That was great, man. Great to have another perspective on there. I know the chat was loving that. So we'll look to have her back if and when we can. So thank you to Ms. Natalie Brunell. Make sure you check her out on her podcast as well. Okay. All right. So meanwhile, you know what actually I don't like right now? We have the writer's strike. I used to watch like Colbert and Kimmel and all that stuff. Yeah. That's where I got that meanwhile from. But like now they're all off air. They're like
it's a shame.
They've been showing reruns I think for months right now. I mean I hope it all gets settled. I want everyone to get paid. So I mean I'm not on one side or the other there. But that's part of the Disney problem. As we've talked about Disney a little bit in the past on this show, and just talking about how yesterday they canceled. Well now it's back to $93. Okay. Disney says, hold my beer a little bit. They made that move down earlier on the day, I believe. So Again, disaster strikes a little bit there yesterday with Disney down to the downside there and bouncing off of 91. Yeah, this is what I was looking at it earlier in the day, and look at that. It bounces right off of 91.60, which was or is, yes, the day low right now, and that was the pre-market bottom as well there, 91.60 on Disney. Now you're upside, pretty nice upside right now, up to 93 again. We'll see if we can get back. I mean, that's the Fed yesterday, so we'll see if we can get back to 94.50. But that's a good recovery there on Disney. We'll look to see about that tomorrow. But nice recovery there on Disney as the market is. I mean, look, yeah, now it's trying to pull back a little bit. So we got a little bit of action here. Unfortunately, our stupid Intel just keeps on sticking up to the high side. Meanwhile, the name that I should have gone back into was AMD. We'd be cruising right now as AMD is well below the 50 period and the 21 period. Still away from the 200 in VWAP, but yeah, AMD to the downside, and I'm going to wind up losing on Intel. Intel is just going to take 36 at some point. Keeps on bouncing up against it. We're short at 86. Like I said, it's just going to, I'm just more frustrated than like mad about losing the money. It came back in. Our best fill is 93. Like, come on, man. I was trying to wait for lower bids here. 85s would be nice. Here it goes. It's just going to break, and then we're going to get stopped out. So the frustration mounts here today. But yeah, the market's going. It's just more myself because frustrated that we're not long everything. And there goes Intel back up to the upside. We only got out of 75% there just in case. But yeah, it looks like it wants to just keep on going. Intel, see you later. Taking lunch again on that one.
So the market is obviously green today. And so at the open, it was 272, then 75, then breaking out 78 and holding 78, then breaking out 80, then breaking out 82. And then finally at the end of the day, right at the end of the day with 30 minutes to go, take our first long in Meta, which is up 3.5%. So this is obviously self-deprecating. There's nothing. It's a trend to the upside, so you eventually join the trend. You might actually get a winning trade on it. So it just got 83s to 83.5. It rejected 84. Meta is obviously in the midst of one, let's just say. And I don't think it's usually like a great idea to think you're going to hit a massive home run long off the top. Let's get that out of the way. We're going to get the imbalances, an early look on the imbalances in 2 minutes as well. So if it breaks down, it can't hold 83. I probably don't want to hang on to this. I'm going to treat this pretty much exactly like we did in Apple. Like when we had the Apple trade, we took it long when it broke 86, and it managed to break out. Once it was back to break even, forget about it. With Meta here, I didn't take a breakout trade, but I'm taking a consolidation off 83. If it breaks the bottom, I'll just get out, break even, and look for another long somewhere else. Right? Like just take the little pot shots, try to make a little back. I did cover a little more GoEV, and then Nicholas started going down too. So all I'm doing is tightening my stop with this anyways. I had it 150, now it's down in the 140s, crossing up to 145, and if it bounces off this 133 again, I'll probably just punch out there at some point. And GoEV was relentlessly holding VWAP. Now it's creeping underneath. I'll take one fill in front of 65, then I'm waiting for it to get down underneath there. That's the 50 period, and the big support here is at 65 cents on GoEV. It's not a coincidence. I think that those two were the shorts that made sense. Pretty standard stuff. And you let it run stops multiple times and not get trapped in the early moves. Kava, what an unbelievable IPO this has been. At the last time I was this, you know what, actually I can't think of the last time I was this surprised by the price action in an IPO. Nothing really comes to mind unless you have to go all the way back to like Snowflake and Coinbase, I guess. But this one was way stronger than I anticipated. It just bounced off VWAP and is still going up. I don't think I'm shorting this till 50 or tomorrow is the way I'm looking at it. Like, look at all the long entries, and I was just so convinced it was going to come back to the downside. 22 opens at 42, hits 48, and it's still in an uptrend. So congratulations if you got this one. You know it's a bull market when the IPOs are coming back, right? Ooh, I hit the wrong bull. That's the... Yeah, sorry. That's the old. That's the new bull. This is the old bull. It's a heck of a lot better.
I mean, I know that high. I think you're right. I mean, it's glad to have IPO season back, but it's only up 10%. Like it opened at 42.
I know. The
high was like 48 or so. So yeah, up a little bit on that. So I don't want to say that this is like as crazy as some of those moves had been off. Sometimes you get like an IPO, even Kenview. I don't remember what that was. Wasn't that in the 30s or
in 20 years? I know this is true for me. 100% is probably true for you. In 21 years, Have you ever, I know this, have you ever traded an IPO without going long? Once, at least once.
Traded an IPO
without going long.
No, and that's in your, yeah, no, I know, I get that part, yeah, no.
As a day trader.
I mean, you always go long.
You always try to go long. Always try to go long. It doesn't, it might lose. The whole idea is
Mobileye was good.
It's a hype trade. The whole idea is the hype trade. It's like basically you're buying into like a squeeze type idea that if it holds any kind of a support level, then forget about it. And there goes Meta. Meta just took out. Meta just broke down.
Oh, it broke down?
Well, I mean, not really.
As if anything's breaking down.
Okay, so it's not really breaking down, but I told you I was not really going to give it a lot of room here. We'll go for the scalp, hold some for the home run, but if it doesn't want to give me, it doesn't want to hold break even, just get out of it and look for another long. Maybe it's 82s, maybe it reestablishes the high and it's a breakout at 84. We have a 283.99 top, certainly that could be it. Aaron Yeager saying I should wear green tomorrow. I don't own a lot of green. Oddly enough, it's a little cold in here, and I was looking for a sweater to throw on, and all I have is a lime green chive sweater. I'm like, I can't really wear that on there. It looks ridiculous. But maybe I'll find something green. I have one green shirt.
Is that just to rally the market, or?
Why would that? So the market should go down? I don't know. I'm in blue today. It's not like I'm wearing,
I think it's just like wear green because the market is.
And I get out of Meta and it bounces. Like I'm like, okay, well, I'll put a tight stop in at the end of the day. The early look on the imbalances. 1.2 billion to buy. I, for one, am shocked. I'm very shocked at that. Green beret, that's a good one, Steve G. And I didn't. I should have bought. I thought about it. I thought about buying a beret when I was in France. I didn't do that. Brendan, what's up, bud?
Speaking of buying, as a verb, 3% for Adobe, guys, going into earnings coming up after the close tonight for this one.
Insane. And Adobe could be really wild aftermarket. And let's get this out of the way. Like, we don't trade. You know, we're a day trading firm. We're out of our positions by 4 o'clock. We don't trade the earnings. First off, I wouldn't trade it. But if you are trading this, good luck. A, B. Just make sure you know the functionality of what works, what doesn't. Can you use stop orders? Do not use market orders. That's very dangerous. But this is up so much here that there's almost anything is possible. I'm gonna go and check options AI in a second to see what the implied volatility is.
Like 6% probably. Everything seems to be 6%.
All the big names have been 5 to 6%. So my curiosity would be if somehow because the late run it's a little bit more than that. Because you're so tight to $500 here that I gotta figure like there's gonna be some gravity to that level no matter what happens here. Like if we fall away from it, well, it's 500. It could fall maybe down to like 475. But if it breaks out, it's like, well, how far past 500 could it really go after this run? We'll see. Because it's options expiration tomorrow. That's the only reason I'm saying this. Like, you're that close to $500 tomorrow. Can it really? How far can it rally past 500? Figure if it gets past 5 and 10, maybe it does. But this is gonna be really interesting tomorrow, given where it's priced.
We'll have to see. I'm gonna get out of something after market on that name because that's a huge move up. I didn't even realize they reported, so we'll have to see. Hopefully it's not right at 4 o'clock, but okay. Intel fell down a little bit right now. Yeah, Natalie Brunell, thank you for coming on the show. That was very good for us because we've had Greg on to talk about Bitcoin, and we've had now Natalie, and we've had a few other guests come on, but that was great just to hear about the dollar cost averaging and everything like that. And we don't trade. Shout out to Jeff Mendel here. Oh, you know what? This has moved up. I can't even see the top of this Google. Oh, there it is. Okay, that's fine. Just want to make sure you guys can still see that. I was going to type in here GBTC over to Pink Sheets because, again, I don't have any trades on this name at all today or anything like that, but this is another thing that you can buy, I guess, ETF. It's grayscale. I guess it's an ETF, but it's just Bitcoin right there. So, we just saw Bitcoin at 28,000. So now the price correlating with it back down in here. Just watch. Oh, you can't see the very bottom of that, but that's okay. Right there, you can see for GBTC, if you want to get something that trades on the open market with decent volume, 2.7 million shares with a good spread as well. So this is something to look out for. I mean, the thing is rallied or not, we had that report from Brendan earlier today that there was, I can't remember who it was, but someone's coming out, I don't know, was it BlackRock, that's what it was. I was about to say Fidelity. BlackRock coming out with a Bitcoin futures, I believe it was, there as ETF. Well. So ETF, contract, futures contract, ETF coming through as well. So that will I don't know if that's going to spark the market or not. I don't think so. But anyways, nice move down there on Bitcoin. Just GBTC, that bottom $7, $8. We'll see if that comes back into play again. But I've been watching this, and I'm not going to say there was something about GBTC and some custodial issues or whatever. Maybe we'll talk to Jeff about that next week. But I like this to trade Bitcoin. I don't really know any other names. I mean, Riot and Mara and names like that are, of course, mining names. So they'll move. Hut 8 is more of a, altcoins and stuff like that. So watch out for Hut 8. But
the answer is 6.4%. Adobe expected.
There you go. Yeah, I said 5 or 6%. Okay.
6.4% is the expected. I don't know what time.
1.2 billion to buy. That is.
It's aftermarket, but we don't know what time that's going to be. It could be 4:20 for all I know. Just throwing that number out there, or like 4:05. No clue. So look, a lot of things are moving. I only have 2 things that I've been holding on to pretty much the entire afternoon. If I get into something new, I want to go scalp trading on some. I don't know, like big levels with the trend. And at this point, we've had 3 consecutive red on the NASDAQ for the first time in a while. Sorry, I was just looking at OCGN because anything that's a penny stock after watching things squeeze today, if it's going, I'm interested because I want to find things that are giving really obvious setups. And sometimes you can see that with small caps. So you have the first 3, we could have 3 red bars in the NASDAQ for the first time all day on my 15-minute chart. That's the kind of day it's been. So I don't really want to be chasing the long. It is a 1.2 million imbalance. I just saw someone say OCGN in the chat, and I guess it's up 6%. This is actually an interesting setup for tomorrow because I actually just tweeted out that someone had asked if I would buy Nikola on the dip, and I was like, no. But I keep convincing myself that GoEV, if it holds 65 tomorrow, could be something. This is a similar setup on OCGN. I got to check to see if there's a catalyst here, but barcode hold 40. Breaking out at 50, holding the line above 50. This would be, as long as it's holding above 50, there's probably like a 51 or 52 along in there tomorrow. I wouldn't take it now, and we don't swing trade on these accounts. We're all day trading accounts. I'd look for something like that. I made a huge mistake today on Nikola by liking it. Once it broke $1, I'm like, I like the long. We started going long yesterday, and then just I was not willing to chase the move on Nikola today. So if another one of these small cap penny stocks starts going like that with a nice tight setup, I think I should just take it. Like I wanted the long into yesterday's close, and I was only willing to risk 5 cents on it. Like I wanted 111 long, and then 2 cents of slippage. And essentially, you could have had 112, you could have had 115, you could have had 120, and the rest is history. I'll probably be punching out of this in a little bit here. Market is holding the highs. What's still moving right now? Meta's no longer going anywhere. Apple's not doing anything. Rivian, that punched right back in through. So I had a little bit of a scalp trade and tried to reload off 30. That's all the way back at 15. That could not seem to continue to go either. So not a heck of a lot that's super volatile at these highs. I don't think that's going to be the case tomorrow or even at 350. I think we make some kind of a move at 350. If we stay 1.2 billion to buy or grow, we could just go round 2 and then make a fresh high of the day here.
Yeah, 338, 339 right now. So we have 11 more minutes. Still those imbalances come out. And as Neil mentioned, we're flat at the end of every single day. So good on that. My daughter just tried on the catching equipment. It fits, so that's good.
That's a win.
That's a win right there. Congratulations. More of a win than we've been having today. But we just got something out at 92, at least on Intel. We got out of 75% of that. It held a little bit back. We could actually, I mean, if it were to go down, we could actually wind up making money on this trade. But again, Intel just breaking 36. We got out there at 02 or yeah, I guess it's 02. And then there might have been some dark pool prints, but anyways, roughly 02. And then as the high's been 03, so whatever. A little bit out there at 92 as it came back in for that one. So, you know, NVIDIA's moving finally. What's AMD doing? I was watching Apple a little bit, but oh yeah, AMD's moving to the downside. So I've been trying to short Tesla all day, as you guys know, because it's been relatively weak into this market. But as you can see, it really hasn't moved much in the afternoon. I mean, you have a 257 to 255, something like that, in and out about $2 there. So not a very dramatic move by any stretch of the imagination here for Tesla today. Just flat on the day. I mean, it had a move down to 254. We are actually bought that. I mean, forget about, I'm just talking about the afternoon. I mean, the morning was a rocket ship to the upside. To have that long there breaking the day's high. I'm wondering about that for Tesla. It just, once it gets going, it goes, and it's hard to stop it when there's real momentum. When there's not much happening, this is kind of what you can see. And the thing is that it's just that there's not much happening in the name. The market, meanwhile, if you overlay the market on this chart, it's going to look silly because Tesla's down and the market just looks like straight up, like in the middle of the day. Now, the market seems to want to pull back a little bit. It's, there we go, we just got stopped out of Intel as it goes back up, whatever.
How is that going up right now?
Yeah, exactly. But there it is right there. Nice movement down on the market, at least under the 50 period. Yeah, Intel just right up there. Where's Intel? It's probably going to come back.
NVIDIA is like...
No, Intel just keeps on going. So there's our last out there.
NVIDIA is accelerating down.
Yeah, well, so is AMD because I was short and not in it now. AMD shorts to the downside. But again, like, you should have waited for that area. Only 20 minutes left. Like,
this is not, yeah, it's not a time to force
then you're
trades.
fighting the 350 number.
Part of me is like, well, I mean, NVIDIA's bounced off VWAP every other time. You risk like 50 cents here.
NVIDIA, let's see.
I don't know, man.
We still got a little bit of time before the imbalances.
Well,
32 to 28. It's down
we're in an upward trending market. You can see how much
it's down $4.
And of course, the camera's on me.
Down $4 from the top.
Yeah, so I mean, every single time it's gotten close to VWAP, it's bounced. So I just took, I'm long at 42. Always, Jackie Robinson, baby. So if it breaks VWAP here, I'll just get out of old NVIDIA and see what happens. I'm absolutely shocked that Intel would be making that press higher, especially given the fact like the market. Like, remember I was telling you guys that the market was 3 consecutive red on the 15 for the first time, and maybe we're showing signs of rolling over, and then NVIDIA just started crapping all over itself. Because what's going to happen now is Intel's going to keep going up, and NVIDIA's not going to bounce off VWAP. But you know what? If I lose risking 50 pennies on NVIDIA long, I can live with that because at least it was an upward trending market. And this should be worth it on any kind of a bounce to give me 29, 29.5, 30s, if not at least pressing into 30, 50. Like there's $2 worth of range here before I'd be convinced that, this is, you got to give it up. So if you lose on a long, you lose on a long today. But that is one heck of a move to the downside. I continue to work out of that Go EV. I now almost have nothing left of it.
Wow.
We're down the last 1%. NVIDIA just keeps on going to the downside. Yeah, you know what? It's not going to hold. I have my stop in. Like this is one of those weird situations where NVIDIA was so strong in the afternoon, carrying things to highs at the end of the day, and then quite frankly, it's shown some relative weakness. So a lot of profit taking coming into NVIDIA here. There it goes. That just stopped me out. You can see stop earning VWAP. Not going to fight it too far. We risk our 50 pennies. Take the shot on the long. Do I want to? Want to look? Intel pull back, but it's still strong. What's AMD doing? AMD.
Ooh, I almost got
not
it.
really moving. Looks like it's a secular move in Intel or NVIDIA. That's Sharif's thing, which I'm stealing.
All right, slots one more time there. Last time I did slots. So first of all, we're short and
Nobody
making
actually
some
wins
cash.
that, by the way.
No one ever never won one spin. Oh, what the? Right there, look. Bag rocket right there. Let's see what I get next time. Right now. Okay. Wow, Neil. That I know you're out of it, but wow, that is really coming down
really
right there to that number there. Wow, big move to the downside. It's a good thing that was finally starting to bank out a little bit here, as bank error not in our favor.
Adobe's getting crushed.
Oh, really? Oh,
It just dropped $5.
Oh, yeah. I mean, NVIDIA's down. NVIDIA's down 5 too. 432 down to 427.
Yeah. Well, this is a little faster. That's all.
Or into earnings. Right?
We had just looked at this, and I'm like, oh, look how close it is to $500, and now it's all the way down at 490. What's going? Come on, Go EV, just go down. And Nicola, I'm just going to punch out of this one. Starting to creep back up here.
So we're actually banking now on Google. So we're short here at 35. It's starting to come back. Someone just won 1,000 points. Yo, what's up to whoever that was right there that got rocket ship for tick. I don't know how much you bet. How much do you have to bet to win 1,000 right there? That's a great one. There, Neil. Someone just lost. Everyone's losing now. It's like a casino, right? Someone wins, and the next thing you know, it's like, I got it. I feel like that's trading these days right here for me.
I lost my 50 points.
Oh, you bet 50 points too? Yeah, okay. Look at Intel now. Yeah, just go directly to hell and don't even go to go. Like, just go right into the gates of hell. Intel stalking my, that's okay. All right, we're making money back here on Google anyway, so that's okay. Oh man, now everybody's doing slots. Oh, someone won again. Okay, I guess you get 10 to 1 because there it is, right there. Bar, or rocket ship there. When I go to the casino, yeah, okay, a lot of people winning now. When I go to the casino, it's mainly just card games, but I don't mind staying around the tables, around the spin every once in a while. Yeah, roulette is nice. Roulette is fun.
So I now have, you'll see in probably a second, I am now out of GoEV. It continues to hold VWAP. Yeah, this might really be a continuation long tomorrow. What'll end up happening is because I wanted above 65 for the hold. I don't know why it's so, sometimes it's a bit delayed. I am out of the position. I punched some out there at 67 and then took the last 2% out there at 68. I really tried to hold on for the home run. I was holding almost half the position for it to flush again through VWAP and get down to 60. It just didn't quite work out, go sideways. And for tuning in late, like what I was getting at for a day 2 play, hold 65 on the 50 period, maybe even take out this local high at 70. It has to not get, first things first, it has to not gap down, and then it has to hold this at the open, and maybe you get a bit of a day 2 play. Even if it gaps above 70, I still think there could be a long to be had, much like Nicola. So that's it. I am out. Maybe there's a 350 play to be had, but the market finally made the move to the downside. Meta just flushed. Did Tesla flush?
Probably.
No, not really.
No,
Tesla didn't really,
holding.
Tesla didn't really do much. Tesla just came into VWAP and bounced again. Apple, that was at least finally go long on Apple. Did stop break even and still above 186. So missing half the day's data there, but 186 ends up still holding. No tank in Apple, up 1% and holding the high of the day. So I guess the last thing I want to, before it's like 350 here, morbid curiosity, Kava's still holding VWAP, so decent pivot level. 40 is the only real level on this stock because that's the bid that got held like a champion, but I put an asterisk next to like 42.5, 43. That little zone in here tomorrow should be worth watching. Like you just kind of look in here, up to like here. Like I think you're just looking at this channel and saying, okay, well, we resisted it. It was a good short off that level. Then it turned into a long after the afternoon. So between 42.5 to 43 is your nice little pivot for today. Day 2, I think Kava is going to be worth a trade. And then by next week, it's probably only for the long-term investors. You only trade these things for the first couple of days usually, and then they really slow down. But this could be a good one tomorrow if it can hold these levels, especially the 40. I still probably try the 40 break if it goes to the downside, if I'm honest with myself. I still want that short because it was a 22 issue price.
Yeah, 22. Yeah, that's right. Those guys definitely cashed in. I don't know when they're going to be able to get out of that. But, of course, now Intel does now come back in, so that's no surprise there. But Google did come back in as well, and we actually got some good fills down here, including 12s and 13s, 13s and 14s. I don't know why we had that. We were bidding 10s, and that never filled. So now we have to wait and suffer through this move back to the upside. Neil and I do have to be flat at the end of every single day, so we want to thank everybody for watching. But you know, this is why we're starting to get out right now, out of all of these positions that we do have and can't hold it overnight. Although I don't know if tomorrow is going to be an upside move or downside or what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be Free Fall Friday or what, but make sure you join us tomorrow. Should be another banger of a show.
Microsoft.
So, Microsoft is 250, right? It was just at 249.50. We can have a quick look at that.
It wants 350.
There it is. Yeah, 249.50. That the high of the day. So, oh, it was billions of shares to buy, wasn't it? Dollars there, 1.2 billion. So we're gonna have a little bit of time here before this comes out.
Softy breakout on the.
Yeah. Yeah, that's without the NASDAQ. So, oh man, this is I'm going to get flushed out on this Google trade for sure, I feel like. Let me get a couple more positions out here. Let's just punch out some 24s, put a bid at 20. Hopefully the market will come back in for us, but let's take a piece out because we're now 15 seconds away from liftoff here in this market, because if it does go back up to the upside, we will get flushed out of this Google trade as the imbalances are going to come out right now for that. So 125.50 is going to be my out on Google, guys.
And here come the imbalances. No break of 350 on Microsoft, which I'm looking at. Come on. Load, PC, load letter. There we go. So five. What?
No NASDAQ names.
I have no NASDAQ names.
Okay,
Yeah,
there
it's
it is.
just
Intel's a buy.
Intel's a buy, 1.6.
Apple's a
Pfizer,
big
who
sell.
cares? Uber's a sell of 1 million. Apple's a sell of 900,000. We're softy. Tesla's a buy of 700,000. Tesla doesn't usually show up on the imbalances. So Tesla 700,000 is a little bit different. It's probably moving off of that. What do we have? Microsoft is. I didn't see Microsoft in the imbalances. It looks like overall.
Tesla's ripping off that.
Tesla does not almost ever show an imbalance.
Right.
I can't even think of the last time, outside of obviously when it got added to the S&P 500, that it had a significant buy imbalance. So this is actually a decent chance at running. Microsoft is like the Rita Coolidge song. It's at an all-time high and wants 350. And if you can tell me, I'll give you a shout out. Well, I'll just give you respect. If you can tell me what Bond movie that song's from. We're at an all-time high. No chance you guys will get that. But Microsoft, impressive. I hope Tesla stays. But remember, at 355, you tend to get some updates on the imbalances. We'll check back at 55 and 58 to see if that Tesla buy imbalance is held. It's already pulling back. I wouldn't chase it. Where'd it go? Yeah, it's still there, like 670,000, but it's already paired off a little bit. Still a big imbalance on Tesla.
Yeah, it was 1 point, so it was over 2.3 million at one point.
Oh,
now
everybody got that.
Pairing off almost immediately. Dr. No was the
No,
answer.
it's Octopussy.
Oh, is it Octopussy?
Everyone
Okay. I saw someone put Dr. No on there.
And they can't do those. Yeah, the old James Bond, you can't really get away with some of that stuff anymore. Although,
Well, no, the old everything I feel like you can't.
there's something.
Some of the comedies and stuff. Well, you could.
You know what happened with James Bond, right?
What?
They literally are rewriting some of the books
Because they're
to
too
tone them down because they're too
feminist or whatever.
And we don't really
Sexist,
talk
I
about
guess.
politics, but like Ian Fleming has passed away. And
Yes.
there's something very weird about that to me. That like an author who wrote a book in a certain way, whether you like it or not, it's just that's what it was and that was the time. That's what they wrote, and they're now dead. And to change their art or what, it's just weird. I don't know. Anyways, shouldn't even get into it. Probably gonna get added.
It's probably. I mean, it's probably.
It's just
family is probably okay.
Yeah, I know, but it's like
probably okay.
yeah, the family probably okayed it, so it's probably fine. So I want to check out Tesla. If it can bounce, it was 256 when the imbalances came out. If it can bounce off that with the imbalances holding, there might be a late trade. But as I look, now I'm not even seeing it anymore. It probably paired off a bit. No, it's still 650,000 on Tesla. A bit of a mixed board. We didn't get an update on the net order imbalance at the end there. I don't know if it stayed at 1.2. The early look was 1.2. I'm not sure what the update was. No, it's 3 billion to the buy side was the update.
Oh my God.
And Tesla's holding fort here. This market wants a top, and what did Microsoft do? Microsoft, no 350 break. It went right to 349.85. The one time today that if you were just sitting in front of a monster level would have worked out for you to just short it, was Microsoft at 350. There you go. Congratulations if you had the guts to do that, because there's no chance I would.
Is that, yeah, and Tesla, I was just watching Tesla too. It went up to 257 there and change before pulling back. So there goes Tesla right up to that level one more time. You know, and again, I mean, the level is, I guess, 258. I would have thought maybe it stops up there somewhere, but hey, man, this is what the imbalances are all about. They're going to flip over here soon at 355, and then we'll see, not hopefully, but we may see a change in direction right now as they all start to get paired off. Like Tesla was 600,000, as Neil said. It's still there, but we'll wait to see what happens on the close for Tesla. After that, not much else. Intel buy, but it's right back down as well. Google did flirt with 125.50 right there. This is the high of the day for Google. Looks like it's going to take it out here right at the end, although the market is not at the high of the day. It's pretty darn close. Up 1.3%. I mean, the NASDAQ made back 2% today, so that's
Powell, baby.
quite an unbelievable move. Yeah.
Big Papa Pump.
Big Papa Pump came in yesterday and tried to slow down the pump, but he could not. You cannot do that. The pump continues.
Man, Microsoft really, like, that's going to be the short at the end of the day today. Like the strongest.
How many dollars?
It's already down like a buck 30.
That's
off
right
the
at that
high.
level. If it
right
breaks
at 350.
It could break it because of the imbalance, right? The imbalance could flip the other way. Was Microsoft the buy? Did we even find it on there?
I didn't see Microsoft. I saw everything but Microsoft when I looked at the imbalance locator.
Yeah,
like
you
I
have
saw
to sort
Amazon,
it.
I saw Apple.
I'm going through it here. You could probably see. I don't. You could sort it alphabetically, but
It takes
maybe I
forever.
should just do that. I would have found it already. Okay, now everything's gonna flip. Okay, we only have a couple minutes now, so let's, okay, there's Google. We put on more short there, so that's good. Let's try to cash a little bit out here in case it does. Whoops, there it is. Yeah, so there's the big move down on everything. So there's the reversal, so there's Google, and yeah, now, okay, finally, now we're printing, man. This is good now. Okay, we made, okay. All right, finally. That's good, man. We make some back. Okay. Like, you know, you sit here all day and you try to read these charts and make these calls, and it's a stupid market, you know, technicality in the market that gives you the winner. Like, that's just frustrating for me. But boom, right there to the downside.
Market's rejecting. Even Apple's now coming to the downside.
I'm just going to cover all this. Like
350. Yeah, 355 is when you get that mass pairing event, and all those buys, nothing is over $1 million anymore. All those buys flipped. I don't even see, I mean, the Q, who cares about the Qs? Like, on the index, you don't really care about an index imbalance. Go EV shouldn't matter. Like, you don't see anything. Uber is a sell. Like, AMD is a sell. There's no Apple. Google is a sell of 300,000. Everything paired off. Tesla went from 700,000 to 300,000, and that's the only one I can find. There's no Apple anymore. There's no, I don't see Amazon. I don't really see any of the big ones. So they paired off, and you get that nice little flush. That's what we always talk about, 355. Like, be very careful if you're in a long position on a buy and balance. Just note that 355, you're going to get a lot of pairing off. Look at the reversal in Apple at that exact moment. Now you're actually starting to flush. Tesla, that came back down. It paired half off, but that's all it will take. And the market's going to close. Still looking strong, but rolling over, as we said, like the first now 4 consecutive red on the 15 minutes. So the power hour was, oddly enough, a bit of a pullback. Not an easy one to get, I'll tell you that much. My hands are off the keyboard. I will not be taking another trade here for sure. With only 3 minutes to go, it has been an absolutely wild ride. I'll tell you this, if you're not entertaining, I don't know what will entertain you in these markets. But if you're not hitting the like and subscribe for the market action, then you should definitely do it for the kick-ass guest we had today, because I thought Natalie did a fantastic job. Natalie Brunel was amazing. We don't talk a lot of crypto outside of the context of possibly how it can move the markets and key price levels and things like that. So today you got a higher level look, and I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit the like for that. That's how we're going to continue to grow the community and make sure we can bring guests like that on a more regular basis. Let us know that you enjoyed it by hitting the like.
Yep, that's a good one right there. And nothing more frustrating to me than AMD, because AMD right now is well below all the shorts that we had all afternoon. So it sucks, because that was a great name for us. Then we gave some back there as it ripped up, and we just got ticked out there. And then here's the move back down for AMD. So congratulations to anybody that was able to hold that. Market sells off tomorrow. I don't know. I would tend to think that there's some air that has to come out, but yeah, if you've been thinking that for the last little while, then you've joined me in losing on that. So, all right, there it is. We're taking some fills right now with only 2 minutes to go. Good recovery for me on Google as all these shorts printed. So everything there, good, but not good enough. It's just this move finally happened. So able to cash out right at the end of the day. But hey, as long as the market's open and there's liquidity, I can get out of that. We'll wait for it. Adobe, we know, is reporting tomorrow. So let's see if that, probably not recovering from that move, but still up at 2.25%. So if I sold some at the beginning of the day, I would have lost. So we'll hold on to that and see what happens right now for Adobe. With going to be a big earnings report, really priced for perfection. It's going to have to beat a lot. But again, AI is all the rage. NVIDIA already tapped these guys on the shoulder already. So they're going to be fine, I would think. That's Adobe heading into today. I am a shareholder, so that's that. But I'm only there because of what NVIDIA said, and that was a while ago. So we'll wait to now see what happens with Google. I might just take another piece out. We don't have too much longer right here, only a minute to go. We'll bid some O2s here. There it is, so that we get the O2s. Now we'll wait for, maybe there's a last second flush, but we're almost out of everything. I'm just going to put a hero bid down at 90 and see if we get that flush into the close. So that's good. We made some money back there on Google, but yeah, NVIDIA has a big seller, people.
It's been flushing right now, but I mean, it's no different from, like, I'm watching Adobe here because the close, they're the ones that report. They're down at 490, so it's holding the bottom.
AMD.
NVIDIA just cracked to 425. Apple cracked to 185.60. That's underneath 186. I'm not in that Go EV. I guess it's just, I don't know, error in the position board, because I covered that a while ago. Kat is on the bell. She's looking fresh in her leather jacket. So I know Sharif would probably have something to say about that if he was here. Is it as good as the leather jacket worn by a certain CEO. It is less than 10 seconds to the close here, so let's go 5, 4, 3, 2, and ring it. The problem is the jacket covers a Cowboy Bebop shirt, which is, that's a cool, I don't know, I watched the show like a couple times, but have you seen the show?
A couple episodes, but not the one on Netflix.
Oh, like the original, like the anime, yeah. So it's like it's basically a famous anime. I think it was a cartoon, comic as well, and they have a Netflix show which has
Right,
the dude
yeah, I'm
from,
gonna check that out.
It's not bad. I think it's watchable. It's entertaining. It has like a, does this feel like Sin City? Sort of.
Oh,
Like
okay.
When you're watching it,
Ooh,
you
Sin
know,
City. I gotta watch that
it's
again.
based on like an anime comic. Like you know that's the
Right,
theme because
right.
when you watch it, they totally stay true to that one for sure.
That's cool, man. I like that. Yeah, thank you, man. Okay, there we go. Everyone's saying it was a fun day today, so thank you for that. And again, thank to all our guests one more time here today. And it would not be, there we go. Microsoft just closed above its previous all-time high closing price. So there it is. We've already talked about that. The all-time closing price before was $339. So well above it right now, making that all-time high move and bouncing off of $350. Watch out for that tomorrow, but we could open up way higher at that point. All right, just quickly here, how many likes did we get? We got over 1,000. No, 853. No. So not even 1,000 likes today. So maybe
on a market up day.
Maybe they don't want Natalie Brunell after all. So
I thought she was fantastic.
So did I.
So a couple of things here. We don't have Brendan at the desk right now. I think he's obviously a little bit busy doing something. But the ES did finish up 1.2%. This is me just letting you guys know it was a green day. 1.15% for the NASDAQ. Quite frankly, I don't have a chart of the Dow. I'm going to assume it had a good day because everything had a good day. I don't know. Where did Bitcoin end up here? 25? That can't be right. Yeah, 25.5 we ended up on Bitcoin. So a bit of a flat day there for crypto. But overall, market up day. I don't know what time Adobe's going to be. But
someone said 405, but I don't know.
Obviously, it's not out right now. Otherwise, it'd be doing a little bit more action
around a bit more.
Currently. So, yeah, it's been a wild one. I think it's going to be a wild Friday. You know it's options expirations, triple witching tomorrow.
Yes, should be a good one.
And, and Palo Alto is going to be a big addition to the S&P.
That should be a lot of fun. Into the close. So, okay, let's go. Let's wrap this up. Thank you to Fabian, Alfredo, Mark today. Thanks, Brendan. Thank you to Natalie Brunell. Thank you to Prad, Sharif, Max, everybody that's holding fort. We are Trader TV Live, and we're back tomorrow at 8:30. So make sure you check that out. Regardless of which way you think this market's going to go, you're probably going to be wrong because unless you think it's going to be long.
999 likes.
I don't know, man. One more like and we're there. We're going to get 1,000 likes. So whoever hits it right now, there it is. Someone hits 1,000 likes. So that was good. Props up on that one. All right, let's get out of here. Brendan is busy, so we will say ciao to Brendan as well. For Neil and Sean, we are Trader TV Live, and we'll see you tomorrow at 8:30. Bye, everyone.